his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake rub. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems like...
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, March the 18th, 2025. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I'm doing.
You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing.
All right. Not that the Irish is over. You're on to you're on to Brooklyn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, once that's a Manhattan thing, San Gennaro.
That's in September.
Yeah, and then there's no like, particular Brooklyn thing. We need to get them on that.
We need to, yeah. Well, we could just come up with one ourselves and then just let them know that that's what it is.
Yeah, like they'll listen to us.
Of course, right.
Two dudes from Jersey, like, yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, we'll talk like this and maybe it'll help.
Yeah. No.
It depends on where in Brooklyn you are, but that's besides the point. On that note, happy Hangover Day, everybody. Happy Hangover Day. I had a little one early this morning. Woke up, for that, that good bathroom call at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, you only get one?
Well, no. The bathroom call at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. That one. That's specifically that one, right? I felt the overhanging. All right.
Are you talking about your belly, or are you talking about the?
A lot of things. Right. So had a big glass of water, took another couple Advil, went back to sleep, woke up at 6:45, was fine. So, I skirted it.
Well, we did all of our celebrating on Saturday, well into the wee hours of the night, with Tom. But we would celebrate before that as well. Carried family members. So I didn't really drink, and there's a lot of times on St. Patrick's Day I don't drink. There's a reason for that. I won't get into. I don't want to put a dark cloud over it, but so I actually didn't drink yesterday.
Well, let's talk about that and some stuff that we did do or did not do over the weekend when the guest comes on. But before the guest comes on, before our esteemed guest of the evening, highly esteemed guest of the evening comes on, just want to let everybody know, happy National Sloppy Joe Day.
Question for you, and we'll ask this of the guest too. Is a Sloppy Joe meat and a tangy tomato sauce on a roll, right? Or is it 2 slices of rye bread with layers of different meats, cheese, and coleslaw?
And Russian dressing.
So which one is it?
My answer to you for that is
yes. Well, because we're from Jersey. We'll also ask Rod which one his spouse's.
I have a feeling his answer is going to be yes too, but we'll see.
Yes,
we'll find that out. It's also I switched them in my mind.
Yeah, see, but the thing is,
awkward moments day. I just had an awkward moment.
You just celebrated.
I just celebrated right there. Right.
That was unplanned because we all know that John's not that good of an actor to have sold it that well.
I know. Yeah. That was natural, folks. That was all God-given talent, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
There you go. So anyway, happy Awkward Moments Day. And there's another one, but there's another day today. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
later on in the show. It's one of those Pastafarian holidays. It's a Pastafarian holiday, and we can lead in something else with it. So we'll do that later on.
Yeah.
Right now, let's bring in our guest for the evening, our esteemed guest for the evening, because I'm thirsty and I'm sure he is too, and I know you are.
Highly esteemed, especially by streaming services.
This is 100%. yes, that's which we just found out. That's a wonderful thing. So please welcome to the show, Mr. Rod J. How are you, sir?
Yeah, Tuesday to you.
Oh yes. There he is.
Highly esteemed, yeah.
Highly esteemed.
Only at a few dive establishments.
It's better than most.
Those are the best places to be highly esteemed. Though,
exactly.
Because the other places are polite.
Yeah, exactly. That's my stool.
Are you talking about a piece of furniture? Or...
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. That's making sure. At least it takes ownership.
It does. So how are you on this fine evening, sir?
Doing well. Good. Second day of the week, right? So St. Patrick's Day yesterday. Now it's into Tuesday. And the play-in night for the tournament, which is lots of controversy out there.
There. Yeah, you're right. It is.
Being a WVU alum, I understand the controversy taking place. So since we're being basically us in Indiana named the most for not getting into the tournament, and North Carolina getting in. So, but when you got the dollars carry weight. So
they do. There are snubs and stuff. There's even a little bit of controversy on the women's side of it, where USC is thinking that they were underranked.
I've heard about the USC thing going on too. Yeah.
They're pissed, which means if you've got them in your brackets only to a certain point, you might want to take them one level beyond because they're going to play mad.
Yeah.
Oof. Hell hath no fury like women scorn. So
very, 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 very.
I feel sorry for the first team they take on because they're going to take it out on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Open that can of whoop ass.
What's interesting is
a little whoop ass
this year, because Carrie's company, there's someone that runs brackets. This year, they're doing the women's brackets as well.
They are.
Oh, so good. It's very cool.
Okay,
but
it gets more people interested in the women's sport.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
Absolutely, and it's really cool. It'll be interesting to see what happens because going picking through it, like we know that a lot of times because you don't have the parity as much in the women's basketball as you do in the men's basketball, so you see it go chalk a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So
wasn't that a movie back about 20 years ago?
See it go chalk a lot.
Chocolat.
Oh, chocolat. Yeah.
Chocolat.
Yeah.
Oh, we talking about Benoit again because I still have some of Benoit's chocolates.
Better than his balls.
No, that's what's his name.
Very, very true. Very true. Well, oddly enough, he does have some round pieces of chocolate. We could definitely do an SNL skit the next time he comes on the show.
But the thing is, it's a disc. It's not actually a.
That is.
Ooh.
The chocolate we were eating on that show with him were most certainly balls.
Well, on the last bunch that I got, I've already ingested all the balls.
There you go.
I didn't even know he made flatterers candy.
There we go. This is the flatter celebrating St. Patrick's.
There you
What's
go.
going on there?
There you go. And can you walk to the edge of that for a minute?
Yeah.
Well, you know the joke. It's the obvious proof that the Earth is not flat. Is if it were, the cats would have knocked everything off of it by now.
This is very true.
True.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save that for later because it'll clash with my first beer. Speaking of first beers, Rob, you have yours poured.
Yes, I did pour the first beer here. So I actually poured out of Michigan, finishing going through these. This is from Old Nation. It is the double dry hop Boss Tweed.
Oh, that is a good beer.
Yeah.
Boss Tweed from Old Nation's amazing.
I've had that one. I like that beer.
So I ended up picking this up at one of our local spots when I went out there, and just like in New Jersey, made an offer I couldn't refuse on it. They actually had 4 packs of these, and I always check the date anyway just to make sure.
Yeah.
So 4 packs of these, and these were actually done January. Try to see it now in this light. It was like January 11th, I think. But it's double IPA. Everybody's like, "Yeah, drink IPA fresh with it." Nobody's like, yeah, shut up. $4.99.
$4.99.
Wow. A 4-pack. Regularly down for like what, $17?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I grabbed a couple of them. I didn't take them all. I could have, but I left some for everybody else. But
yeah, that's not bad at all.
they were going quick.
That's awesome. Remind me, I'll just tell right now. Well, you know what, Dave? What's your beer of mine? And I got a quick story about Old Nation for you.
And this is thanks to Jersey Johnny. He tossed me one of these. This is 11th Hour's Noble Spirit German style Pilsner. And my glass actually matches Johnny's hat.
There you go.
I've got it.
Little shilling in the house.
Yep, I've got my shilling nipple mug is what I like to drink all of my Pilsners out of, and lagers. I should probably be drinking out of a Pilsner glass, but I like it in this.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. That is yours. I'm going, there's a theme tonight for mine. Just kind of a quiet theme in the background. Old reliable goodies that we take for granted and don't buy as often as we should. My first one is Kostritzer.
Oh, there you go.
The Schwartz beer that all other Schwartz beers are measured against.
Exactly. So cheers. And one last time for good measure, Sláinte.
Well, I was going to say pro since two of us are drinking German.
Well, there you go. Pros.
There you
Pros.
go.
There you go.
Down hat.
There you go. That works too.
Or as like I've said all the time, the author taught me Zumfader.
Oh yeah. Wow. That is such a good Schwartz beer. I got
it. I haven't had one of them. I haven't had one of those in years.
So
yeah.
I actually have that at the appropriate glassware. I could Starodumsky it if I could get it.
Starodumsky, yeah.
If I could get it out of a box, out of the box in storage.
Box in storage, exactly. Yeah. So my quick Old Nation story. So about 6 years ago, Jess and I went on 6 or 7 years ago, something like that. We went on a Midwest trip. We did a 10-day trip. We hit 50 breweries in 10 days.
Oh, wow.
And we started in Cleveland, spent a couple days in Cleveland. Then we were going up to Grand Rapids. On the way to Grand Rapids, we went through Williamston and we stopped at Old Nation. So we walk in, and it was a Sunday, right? And there's not that many people in there. A few people at the bar, a couple people at some of the tables. And we sit down at the bar. We're talking to the bartender. And a guy sits down next to me, and he was talking to the bartender too. So at one point, I brought a bunch of beer, because I'm in the business and I have beer, and I'm, bringing it. So doing trades, along the way. So I'm like, I said to her, I said, I don't know if you're a manager or is there a manager here? Is the owner here? I'd love to, talk to him a little bit and do a trade. And she says, I don't know. Why don't you ask him? He's sitting right next to you. It was Travis. The owner was sitting right next to you. So about an hour later, Jess is on her phone like, are you done talking to him yet? We went in the back. I gave him a couple of 4-packs, and I wound up walking out of there. The dude was so generous and so great. I literally gave him 2 4-packs. I walked out of there with over a case of beer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was so cool.
In that case, I better check the date on this thing.
That was from the Pittsburgh trip at the end of October, beginning of November. So I think
okay.
I think you're good. It's a Pilsner too, so I think you're all right.
There's no date on it.
It's not a New England IPA from 2021.
Yeah.
No date.
Yeah. Oh, that was a brewery only can, so that probably why there's no date on it. So.
It's a little mature.
6 years ago, yes.
Exactly. Brian Boak just commented. He said, "You are late. Just finished my first beer. Fair Isle Brewing, Madame R. Gala Saison."
Oh,
and Saison. He says Catholic versus Jewish Sloppy Joe.
So
that's where we lead in was. Go ahead.
To you, what is a Sloppy Joe?
Sloppy Joe is the meat with the sauce on the bun.
Right.
Yeah. See, in Jersey, we do have this thing. In the tri-state area, we do have this thing where they take.
Quick side note: not all of Jersey.
Because remember, I grew up in Jersey.
You grew up in South Jersey, northern counties in Jersey, and not every northern county either. Just certain northern counties in Jersey.
Just Bergen. No, I'm just joking. Just do that out there.
a little bit of South Bergen, Essex, Union, and a little bit of Morris,
Eastern Morris County,
and Eastern Morris. Yeah, that's it. That's that section. That's it. That's the only.
And
one.
it's 2 slices of rye bread. It's roast beef and turkey, and then it's the coleslaw and the Thousand Island dressing. And they put cheese on it too, don't they?
Isn't that just like a Reuben with extra or something?
It's
a non-warm Reuben.
It's a non-warm Reuben. It's corned beef.
It's roast beef and turkey, so it's not corned beef.
No. It can be. I've had it with corned beef and.
Well, that's just a fucking Reuben to John's.
No. Stop! I didn't order it that way. That's how it came. I've had it with corned beef, turkey, Swiss, Russian dressing, coleslaw. I've had it with roast beef. I've had it turkey and Munster cheese and coleslaw and Russian dressing.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah.
So anything that's a lunch meat with the cheese, with coleslaw and
Russian
dressing
quantifies as that.
As a Sloppy Joe.
Yeah. Exactly.
So not all Reubens are Sloppy Joes, but not all Sloppy Joes are Reubens, but a Reuben is a Sloppy Joe, apparently.
Technically, I guess.
Funny note, I only had my first Reuben a few weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof, I love them.
Just never did it. Just never. I always knew about it. Never had a pastrami on rye either. For whatever.
Was it open face or was it just a sandwich?
It was just a sandwich. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I just never got around to doing it.
See, for me, a Sloppy Joe, and I get this from a bar down the shore named Kelly's,
which is right
Neptune.
There.
Yeah, John can almost sort of. I
can walk to it.
You can walk to it.
I can walk there in about 10, 12 minutes. I can walk there.
But what they do is this is the way I do it too. You put the piece of rye bread down, then your corned beef or your pastrami, but corned beef is the norm. You put the corned beef over top of it. Then you have mixed the sauerkraut and the Russian dressing together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Then you put that on top, and then it's slices of provolone cheese and then slices of Swiss cheese, and that goes under the broiler until everything's good and bubbly. And that, to me, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, the open face is crazy.
Superior. Yeah.
The sandwich is very good. The sandwich for me, I'll say it like this: the sandwich is lunch. The open face is dinner. Right? Yeah. How's that?
There you go.
And Brian just commented again. He said corned beef, pastrami, and turkey is the Jewish version. He said.
There you go.
There you go.
So, yeah. All right. So. Back to beer talk. So how was St. Patrick's Day? Well, first of all, how's the settling in? I mean, you've been there a while now. It's been a while since you moved back out there, I should say. But how's everything getting reacclimated to the area?
It's fine when it gets reacclimated. Got to try to find a house. House shopping is always fun. That's that part of adult life that never changes from being a pain in the ass at times.
Unfortunately, the pricing changes, but
the pricing changes. So kind of still going through that kind of mold, but still got a good amount of breweries here. I think we got a little bit more than when I left, and some different names. Some closed, some got taken over. So I think now we've got about 80 within a 20-mile radius of Cincinnati in different directions. So literally a 20-minute walk from Mantry where I'm at. And then they put a high wire up here that wasn't here before when I left. So
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And just a bunch of other ones that are all around.
Is it just a tap room, or do they have
the high wire here is a tap room, I believe.
It's a tap room,
because they also have it down in Louisville, which I'll be down there this coming weekend, so maybe I'll get some down there as well. But probably hit out against the grain, I'm thinking too, while I'm down there.
No, definitely.
I supposed to go down there years ago. I know Sam, the owner down there. I was supposed to go down there and do a tour and all that kind of stuff. Never got around to it. So might pop through there. But I mean, the beer scene is so crazy. I didn't make it over to Bachfest when you had it. Was like kind of an up and down type weekend. Plus, it was kind of crazy, and plus, I was in that mood where it's like, you know what? I don't really feel like being around people right now. However, we do have we have a lot of Bach beers that are floating around, so I plan to pick up some of those from some of the spots and stuff too. Because I always like a nice Bach.
Oh yeah, I love a good Bach. Love a good Bach. Quick aside on that same trip that I met Travis was talking about Old Nation. Later on, we were in Louisville. And we got it was a whirlwind trip to Louisville, right? We left Chicago, went all the way down through Columbus, Indiana. We stopped at 450 North and for some lactose. And then we continued down and we went to Louisville. We got into Louisville about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Checked in a hotel, in and out in 15 minutes. And took an Uber up to Against the Grain. So we got there. Say we got there like 10:30, probably a little before.
Yeah.
It closed at 1:30. We were there for 3 hours. We ate. We had a bunch of beer. It was just before 1:30 was last call. We were the only ones in there at the time, Jess and I. And it was the bar manager and the general manager were in there, just the four of us. And she walks over and she turns the open light out and she locks the front door. And she turns around and says, "Want to drink some bourbon with us?" Twist my arm.
In Kentucky?
We walked out of there at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
So that was a fun trip to Against the Grain. So.
That is nice. Yeah. It's in a nice little location down there. If you ever get a chance down there as well, I know we talk sports and stuff too. The Muhammad Ali Museum is pretty cool. Well, the stadium's there, but the Muhammad Ali Museum is actually pretty cool to check out too, which is right there where Against the Grain is.
It's right there.
The Louisville Slugger.
The Bat Factory's down the block.
Yep.
Yeah.
And right across the street from Louisville Slugger Bat Factory is Michter's. And it's one of my favorite ryes.
The rye.
Right there.
Yeah.
Is that
something
you, Dave?
going on out there?
Parade out your window.
St. Patrick's continues.
It is. That's just how the people in this town are horny as hell.
Apparently.
If it's one of those places that if you're not moving before the light turns green, the fifth car behind you is blowing its horn.
Well, here's the thing: if the light changed green when the first guy blew his horn, and they're still blowing horns, something's wrong with the guy in the first car. So I would get out of the car and check on it.
No, it has nothing to do with that. The guy in the fifth car is looking ahead. The second that light turns green, he's on his horn. Mm-hmm. It's like there's 4 cars in front of you.
Yeah, really.
One of these days, I'm going to, if I'm the first car and the guy behind me blows his horn, I'm going to put it in park, get out, and go, what?
I do that. I've done that. When I was younger. What?
They're like, oh no, you're blowing your horn. I thought you wanted to talk to me. Sorry. I'll get back in now. But make sure the conversation lasts as long as the light. So he's got to sit through the light again.
My father said that a long time ago when I was like 18, 19, 20 years old. I did that. If somebody, as soon as light changed green, if I heard that horn, I put it in park, got out of the car. Can I help you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want?
What? Well, you blew a horn. I thought you wanted something.
Have you ever seen that video of the guy who blew a horn at a dump truck sitting at a light? Mm-hmm. The dump truck puts it in park. The guy cranks his radio, gets out, and dances in the street for a little bit until the light turns red again, and then gets back in his truck. That's a beautiful way to do it. Mm-hmm. And the dude could dance.
That's great. And I hope. And we'll never know unless we investigate or whatever. I didn't think that, but I will never know. But I hope that was actually for real. I hope it wasn't just one of these staged videos.
It looked like it was on a traffic cam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it looked like it was on a traffic cam. So I think it was real. I don't think anybody was like, I think it was a traffic cam.
There you go. All right. How was St. Patty's out there? Was it?
I was here last night. I have too much stuff running around, so didn't really go out anywhere. There was some stuff they do like on the weekend. They may have done it yesterday, actually, but we have one of the bars. They do a kegs and eggs usually each year, 6 in the morning or whatever. So usually it's on the weekend, but they may have done it on Monday. I wouldn't put it against them to not do it that way because people do take off work. Cincinnati has a really big German heritage. Mm-hmm. Does have some Irish around, but not as much as the German heritage is. So there are definitely people that come out and celebrate on St. Patrick's Day. They do have a parade. The parade, I think, though, was on Friday or Saturday when they had the parade. So,
well, I live in a town which has the second largest Cuban population in the country. There was no St. Patty's Day parade.
I was going to say,
no.
Well, I just a friend of mine posted yesterday. He said everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day, right? And the meme was everybody is Irish on St. Patrick's Day, except the Scottish. We're always Scottish.
Yes. And people confuse us for Irish anyway.
With the dry face too.
Because if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Crap. So. But all right, yeah, it was. I got to be honest with you. I was mentioning it to Dave when he said he didn't do anything yesterday. We had a very interesting St. Patrick's Day weekend. We probably did more than we normally do because the parade in town. It's the biggest in the first parade or one of the first parades in New Jersey, but that's 2 weeks ago, right? So we already did that, right? But this past weekend, Saturday morning, we ran the kilt run.
John did not wear the kilt.
No, I wore the kilt.
But you didn't wear au natural.
I mean, if you're wearing a kilt, you gotta do the real thing. That's what I've been told. So
I wore the kilt and it was breezy. Let's leave it at that.
It's called shrinkage. It was cold.
You got some Scottish eggs there, son.
Exactly.
Bangers and mash.
Oh yeah. On that note, but
don't go there. I left that wide open for you.
Is that the famous or pseudo famous bar around the corner, bar Anticipation Bar A, which has been there forever, and it was a buffet afterwards. We had food. Ooh. I had a few Guinnesses afterwards, and then I did a little work, just went to work. I went up down by her. I had a couple drinks. Anyway, Sunday morning, we went to an Irish bar down in Spring Lakes for St. Patrick's Day weekend brunch. So I wound up having corned beef hash and eggs with the thickest rye toast I've ever had. I'm not even kidding. I love it. Slice of bread with it's so good.
Which is weird because if you go down to Florida, there is a deli called 2J's, not Rod J's, 2J's.
2J's.
And their sandwiches are on rye bread that thick.
There you go. That's awesome. And I wound up having a few blacksmiths while I was there.
There you go.
And for those that don't know, it's a black and tan with Smittix and Guinness.
There you go.
And then we hit a couple other places up, and bar hopped on Sunday for a while, and then wound up at another Irish bar for dinner. And then yesterday I worked a good part of the day, but then I went down to the Irish Rail in Manasquan for corned beef and cabbage and Guinness and Guinness and Guinness and Guinness and Guinness.
That seems about right from the pictures you said. Yeah.
Probably could use a little bit more Guinness, but yeah.
It was a little bit.
You can always use a little bit more Guinness.
So it was a good weekend. So anyway.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was going to say I did last night. I forgot. I did last night. I did introduce my own beer cuvee to the world. I don't know if anybody else had done it or not, but I called it the Conway's Irish Compliment.
I saw you post that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
So go ahead.
Edmund Fitzgerald and the Conway.
No. Conway's Irish Stout that they have now.
Oh, the Conway's and the
Conway's Irish Red Ale.
The Red Ale, yeah.
Right, very nice.
And by the end, it was pretty smooth. It was like an Irish milkshake. It was really good.
So you didn't float anything. You didn't do a black and tan. You just did a cuvee.
Well, I tried to actually do a black and tan on it because I have a black and tan tool.
So your intention was a black and tan.
Yeah, so I put it in with the red, and then once I put in the stout, it just was too dark of a red. They kind of just merged right into it, so it didn't have that lighter color to really stand out. But the way the red ale had with the malt and the breadiness of it, and the way it reacted to the stout, gave what's usually the drier stouts a little bit lighter of a body to me.
Right.
But it ended up giving it more of that nice body to it that together with the flavors coming through, because you got a little bit of a toffee underline from the red ale, that it was like an Irish milkshake.
I got to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here in the encyclopedia. Cuvée, when the float fails. Okay. Right there. Just wanted to check. Which means every time that when I try to do the shot for an Irish car bomb, it's always a cuvée. Because I can
we say cuvee 2 beers.
I can never get the Irish cream to float on top of the JMO. I just can never get that right.
Yeah.
So I let it settle a little bit.
You got to hold the spoon
upside down,
upside
up against the
no,
right in the dead center.
It's got to be up above the glass. You can't touch the glass. If you touch the glass, it's going to go down the side into the other
it's got to be above.
It's got to be above it, and you got to trickle it. Just literally trickle it, and it literally just drips off the side of the spoon, doesn't touch the side of the glass, and winds up floating on top of the.
Okay, I will try that next time.
It's really a test of patience doing it.
It is.
Which I'm an Aries. We don't have any patience, except for those of us that are doctors, of course.
Right. Well, you would hope they would have a little of both in that.
Hey, was it George Carlin used to say, somewhere in the world is the world's worst doctor. Process of elimination. The problem is someone has an appointment with him tomorrow.
Right. Well, that's the other thing too. It's like what do you call somebody that got a D on their final medical boards?
Doctor. That's the way it works.
Technically, they pass. So
yes.
So
now, my St. Patrick's Day was wild. At about 7:30, I took 2 Advil PMs, and I was out by 9.
There you go. I had a blast.
Hey, you know what? I got a really good night's sleep last night. So
well, there you go. And you were better for it today. How's that?
Yes, I actually was. It was a pretty good day. Actually went into the city to work today. So
very nice.
That walk.
Bus
ride and the walk. It was a beautiful day in the city today.
Beautiful day.
We hit over 60 degrees today in New York, so that was nice.
Yeah, it was hotter than that down here. It was mid 60s down here. It got to. It was really really nice out today.
Yeah, it's beautiful today.
I just opened my second beer. I'm gonna throw that up.
What do you got there, Johnny?
Nope, that's the first one. It's this one. Washington's Porter from Yards Brewing. So again, it's my second of my old reliable goodies that you don't buy all that often. This This is, you know what, Dave and I were talking before. His favorite yards is the Thomas Jefferson Spruce Ale.
That's my number 2.
And nice. Washington's Porter's his number 2. Mine, they're tied. Of my favorite yards, Washington's Porter and the Thomas Jeffersons. But this is really good. Again, don't buy it quite enough. And it's just a really good solid porter, 7%. And there's your Treehouse glass, Dave.
There it is. There's the Treehouse glass.
There you go.
Because I will be having a Treehouse next.
Very good.
Oh, fancy.
There you go. Fancy schmancy. And there's a theme to Dave's too.
Yes, John gave me both of them.
I gave him both of them.
At least the second one was in trade.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's all good. Doesn't matter. All right, so let's talk about the show you had last week on your podcast.
Which one? It was a busy few weeks lately.
It was a busy few weeks. The one you had last Tuesday.
Okay.
With the regarding the impending doom on the aluminum industry in this country. It's not. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But
yeah,
I'm optimistic.
I mean, we can hope.
I'm pessimistically optimistic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If we go back and we look back, because we do have the benefit of hindsight, because it's not like it's a new administration.
Right.
We've seen it before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we go back and we look at 2018 when this was introduced and the results of that, 1.4 billion is what the brewing industry was hit by tariffs that they came up with. And I think the distillery, the spirits industry, I think it was around 1 billion itself as well on stuff they got hit on. So it is an effect that not just hits the aluminum, but it hits the steel. When you look at a brewery, you have lots of parts with steel and aluminum. The parts that go to the parts to make the big part, right? You have all that stuff in there. Something goes out, you need to get a new part. It's going to cost you a little bit more. You have the stuff, with the kegs and all kinds of things. So there's all this cost concern out there, right? But then you also have some of the stuff we covered was impacts, not just from that part, but also how it can affect things like the grain owners, where they have to supply because they got to pay more for the grains to come in, because we don't produce a ton of grain statistically for the brewing industry in America. We get a lot of stuff out from the other country. That was the whole thing a few years ago with Ukraine and the Russia war, was that Ukraine was a big grain exporter. So a lot of that stuff got slowed down. That kind of impacts some of grain prices, right?
Yeah, so, they're called the breadbasket of Europe.
Right. And so here in the States, probably the one thing that we do have, although it is usually limited for what we want to do for IPAs, is like hops. We have a ton of hops that we can do. But even some of your more hops, like for your Pilsners and your other type of lagers, they're coming from overseas and all that stuff. We can't grow them in our environment like that.
We can grow them, but the terroir changes the flavor.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same flavor.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, we do. I mean, I would say it's close to 50%. It's probably a little less. It's a little less, but it's not a fraction of the hops we use in our beers are imported hops. Whether they're from Europe or whether they're from Australia, they're imported hops. Yeah,
because they took Hallertauers once and grew them in the Pacific Northwest, and they started throwing pine.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So it's not Hallertau anymore.
Nope.
So I think when you look at the overall effect that it's going to have, you are going to have a situation where, I went to the store this weekend and I ended up picking up a few other beers, and I noticed like your 6-pack of Miller Lite or Bud Light or some of your domestics, they were now like at $9.99.
Oof.
Now, usually they're around $5.99, $6.99 or something like that and everything. So now they're coming up to the pricing of, with craft beer, some of your lower craft beer levels around $9.99 for a 6-pack for a basic type thing. Those are going up to $10 or $11.99. So you're starting to see this trend going up. And even when you go to, like, here we have Kroger out of Cincinnati, it's the big grocery store, like up there. I forgot the one. Wegmans is up there in the Northeast, kind of like that. So you can go there and get beers. Usually they'll be like, "Oh, it's discounted." Like, and the discounts were now like $10.99 or $11.99, where before it would have been $9. Or like Sierra Nevada pale ale used to be like a $7.99 beer when you went into a Kroger. That's like $10.99 now.
That's like 10 or $11.99. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're starting to see some of the effects already starting to take place. So it'll be interesting to kind of see everybody say, well, it's a negotiation tax. Well, it is in the beginning, but it does run into stuff. Like I said,
if it holds,
did have it go for a period, and we know there's numbers out there to show breweries did get affected by it. It won't be just the breweries, obviously, because, people that want to get their Pepsis and their Cokes and other things along those lines. I tell people, go around to your house and find me like 50%, 20%, 10% of stuff you have that isn't made in China.
Right.
That doesn't say made in China in the back, right? So you have a lot of stuff that, even away from the aluminum to steel, that you're going to start to pay a little bit more. And people are going to be conscious of that. You're going to start seeing some cutbacks. And unfortunately, for some of the breweries, if they got to raise up, it's going to come down to the price that people may have to absorb.
There's a little more than there's even something else that's happening now when you talk about the beer and just the alcohol industry itself is this threat of the tax on spirits from all alcohol from Europe, because it'll be reciprocal.
Right.
The bourbon industry is already feeling the crunch of Canada not buying any more American whiskey. Canada is one of the biggest consumers of American bourbons, and they're pulling them off the shelves.
Right.
So that's hurting them as well. We've seen the heads of the spirits industries, a couple of them actually come out and say against this tariff, going, "You're going to hurt us just as much as you're going to hurt them, if not more."
Yeah.
So they're definitely against this.
Yeah, and it's interesting because at the end of April, I'll be going to the Craft Brewers Conference in Indianapolis, and so I'll be meeting a lot of people and stuff there. But our keynote speaker is the CEO of Uncle Nearest, so I'm hopefully can get some time with her to ask her some questions about what they're seeing there as well, because again, they're feeling the pinch in the distilleries just like the breweries are, but. Some of the brewers we've talked to already, some of them, when this got announced a few weeks ago, some of them ahead of time stockpiled cans where they can get cans and stuff for their things.
If you have the room.
If you have the room, and people are preparing. The funny thing is some people will be like, oh, just go back to bottling. It's not that easy for a brewery to switch over. Like, people just think you could just switch over. Like, no, that's whole new equipment, and that's more space with bottling.
Yeah, it's not. You most breweries mobile can. And unless you're fortunate enough to own a canning line yourself, but there's no mobile bottling lines.
No.
Yeah.
Right? So you actually got to spend thousands and thousands and tens and thousands of dollars to buy a bottling line. At that point, just continue to can and spend more money.
Yeah.
So.
And one thing with the brewery, you guys know this, I'm sure, with like some of the smaller type breweries, one of the reasons they were getting a lot of their stuff imported is because the size that they have to order for, a lot of American companies didn't want to go that small.
No.
Right.
And they were able to get better deals by bringing in some of the overseas stuff or from Canada or Mexico, wherever they were getting it all in from. So to just say, oh, we're going to build it here in America, well, there's not a guarantee they can even stock for what the Americans are going to want for it and everything too.
Of course.
And with the Americans, we have a higher cost of living, so it's going to be a higher premium, $1 out too, that these breweries have to deal with. So it's all kind of interesting. A couple of things that have come up recently. We joked about it last week, but I've heard a couple people say, like, maybe we get to return to the growlers again. Yeah. People just start bringing their growlers in and taking them out. And nowadays,
old school,
you can get pressurized growlers, right? That you put it in there and they'll hold your beer 2 to 3 months.
Yes.
CO2.
Yeah, the CO2
so you might have something else new emerge along those lines if breweries are in the states where they can do that, because some breweries can't do it in some states where you can do it as well, because it's all by the state laws, right? So it'll be kind of interesting to see going forward, but you hope that cooler heads will prevail. But like I said, it's not like it's a new movie, it's more of a sequel. So we know how the first one went, so now let's see what happens this time around. And the people that had to go through it, they're making their voice heard as much as they can. They're saying, hey, reach out to your Congress.
They're making their voice heard,
but
the media's not covering it.
I've seen a few pieces. I think if you go on now, like if you Google now tariffs and beer, Because for a while, there was only a few coming up that I saw. Like even my video was popping up there, but now I'm seeing more and more news stations starting to come up ahead of the feed.
Oh, good, because for a lot of the stuff, they're not covering that. They're not covering the veterans marches at all.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that they're just ignoring right now, which is sad.
Yeah. It's. I always go back. I graduated a journalism degree back in school back in the day, and always still like back in the 80s when we were in school. I was in school mid to late 80s, but back then I grew up under the age of Walter Cronkite and stuff, right? So
a real journalist,
and we had independent radio stations on the radio, just like we had independent music stations on the radio, especially in Jersey. You got all kinds of stuff. It wasn't all the commercial things.
The college stations,
that's what we listened to.
Yeah, when the mid 90s came around, you started to have the buying of stuff taking place, and now you have 91% of the media controlled by 6 companies, essentially.
Yep.
Maybe even a little bit more than 91% now.
Probably
so it's funny because, and we were in Baltimore for the last 3 years, and here in Cincinnati, we usually watch like the NBC news or whatever, but it was almost like the same studio, the same setup, the same things being prepped for the people to read on the news. The only thing different were the people telling the story.
Right.
But it looked exactly like the Cincinnati news for the most part.
So John, Brian and myself have opened our second beers.
All right. Why don't you tell? Well, let's put Brian's up. Hold on.
Brian's up there.
Brian has opened his second beer. It is Hop Butcher Triple Grid Triple IPA.
Someone wants
to the world.
Someone wants to sleep tonight.
Exactly.
I've had the double grid. I never had the triple grid though. Hop Butcher. It's one of those spots you got to hit if you're in Chicago. Though.
Yeah, you got to go to Hop Butcher.
Yeah. If you go to Hop Butcher, do yourself a favor. I tell everybody, go across the street, get yourself a burger at Bad Apple. Mm-hmm. Best burger joint I've had in my 56 years on this planet. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And then when I tell people about it, we did a show one night. We were going through the menu of the burgers. People were really getting like, I was there and no one told me. Like they were getting upset. Like, phenomenal burgers, all different types and everything. So
that's great.
Yeah, Hop Butcher's also now.
That's awesome. Dave, what's yours?
Mine is called When Worlds Collide. This is from Treehouse. This is one of the more infuriating cans.
Scotch ale.
Barrel blend. It's one of the more infuriating cans because the name of the beer is nowhere near not on the front whatsoever. It's actually around the back. So you spend a lot of time trying to find this beer online. But it's on the back. It's called When Worlds Collide.
When Worlds Collide, yeah.
I put it in one of my favorite glasses.
There you go. Skull glass.
Yeah, it's my skull glass.
Oh,
dark beers look so good in this glass. That is so good. So.
See, folks, Treehouse does make more stuff besides IPAs.
Oh, they make amazing lagers, and that beer and the non-barrel aged version of that beer is fantastic too.
Oh my God, the chocolate notes in this are outstanding.
It's crazy. It's one of the better Scotch ales that I've had in recent years. That one right there.
This is
and the regular version of that too. In fact, this is the regular version.
This is
hold up the can.
This is a boozy ass chocolate bar.
Ooh.
That's the regular version.
Okay.
And this is the barrel blend. And my God, it's boozy, but not to the point of being hot. It's just got that boozy flavor to it. But it balances that because Scotch ales can be some Scotch ales can be a little cloying, a little on the sweet side.
Sure.
So you add a barrel age like that and that booziness, it really balances it.
Yeah, it's got to have a little bit of a sweet character to it, but you don't want it to be overcloying.
That's fantastic.
It's really good beer.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
And that is the subtitle for our show, Dumb and Dumb. And both of us are too stupid to figure out which one's dumb and which one's dumber.
It doesn't matter. Pick a day. There you go. So I agree 100%. It's not like you said. It's not a new movie. It's a sequel. Hopefully there's some people involved, not just one person involved. Hopefully there's some people involved that, are understanding what it's doing to, us here. and
Yeah.
they work out. They're maybe, I don't want to say lenient, but they work out a little bit. They work out some things, a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, a little bit to our benefit, so that it really doesn't affect us all that much. I mean, it's already, like you said, it's already affecting us, but
yeah.
Well, that would be the goal, right? I mean, I know like Bart is leading a group. Bart's the I forgot his last name, but the president of the Brew Association.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the subway system in San Francisco.
Bart. Subway system in San Francisco is already leading a class.
I think that's a ride to nowhere out there now. But, I know they're going to DC like for a thing to do like a presentation or whatever in front of whatever panel and stuff like that and everything. So they are taking a group to DC this month in April to try to do that. But again, it's, there's so much stuff going on. And it's kind of like at a point you're almost like, yeah, I mean, we don't want the beer price going up, but then it's like, it's beer, right? And it's like all this other stuff we got going on in the world. It's like, well, yeah, but it's beer. But then again, it's like, we want our beer to be the good thing too. It's like on the prouder stuff, people can't afford the price of eggs and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, are we just being privileged right now?
I walked into ShopRite.
Yeah, first world problems, right?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, but when I walked into ShopRite, oh geez, it was probably about 3 weeks ago at this point.
There's also groceries, yeah.
And I saw that a dozen eggs that I normally spent like $3.99 on was $11.49.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, price gouging.
That's just insane, because I don't care. Look, I get it. Bird flu, pricing of this, that, but no, there's no way the price is tripling. Okay? No way the price is tripling. That's complete bullshit. Complete.
And I can tell you, like for us, like I usually am the one to go to the grocery store on the weekends, because I'm the one that usually cooks and everything like that. So I know what to get and kind of grab and all that kind of stuff. Not once did I see eggs over $7 a dozen.
Yeah,
which is always surprising when I see all these other, because I have a friend in Connecticut, Vanessa, that watches the show. They were like 13 or 14 up there, what she was saying on some of their eggs at some places. I just like I saw bodegas in New York that were something like $1 for two eggs.
Oh,
I'm like, I mean, if you're not getting eggs from a bodega, there's all kinds of issues.
Yeah,
but I mean, $1 for two is still $6 a dozen. That's actually
that's a good deal.
That's a good deal,
But you don't know where those eggs came from. You don't know that it came from
a little baggie. They put them in a little baggie with the two. Like I don't know what those two could have came from, right?
Yeah, you don't know that it came from a chicken.
Exactly. No, it's from a chicken, but they got them out back of the bodega. That's what they did. They just laid them an hour before you got them in the baggie.
But those are fresh. I would definitely pay for that.
Depends on what they feed the chickens.
Yeah. Well, it also depends. You know those chickens are hanging out with the rats.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're doing all kinds of things with those rats. You don't know.
The eggs could be a little plaguey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's pretty meaty rats in New York. So
that's true. A chicken rat.
meaty. Yeah,
like they could feed a family of 3.
But they made with the chicken, and then what's in the
actually egg? They can probably feed on a family of 3.
They probably do feed on a family of 3.
Yeah.
You say they made with the chicken, and then what's in the egg?
Yeah.
These eggs taste a little ratty, but
but I would say keep an eye on it, because there's, like I said, there's more stuff popping up around that now. You're starting to see more exposure to it. Like I've seen more news stations kind of being laid on it, behind the 8 ball, kind of talking about some of the stuff. But you're seeing that, you're seeing some distilleries. The other problem you have out there too, that people haven't really taken into account as of yet, and I actually talked to a few people when I was at the Ohio Brewers Conference earlier this year, is what are you going to do out here for some of the grain farms, all that kind of stuff, or the hop pickers, right? Because there's a big thing happening with, obviously, with the migration and deportation, all that kind of stuff, but most of your workers in these hop fields, a lot of them are migrant workers.
Yeah.
And
most of our crops,
right. Most of our crops. And I was talking like one of the hop farm owners, and he was showing me like the technique they got to do, which is kind of like a special technique to want to know to pull the hop, to know how to do it, and to do it in an efficient and effective manner, right? Because hops are not huge, right? So you got to pick a lot of them, and to have to train that to an American and the American, like, when do I get my 15-minute break, or when I do this or that on my back?
And I want $12 an hour, or we're going to unionize. Yeah.
And the migrant workers, they just go in there, they go right through it and they get it down. And they're like, so if you have less of them out there, because right now already some of the California farms have reported, like some of the citrus and orange, it's going to be higher prices. We're going to have less. We can't get all the output done because we don't have workers.
It's rotting on the trees.
Yeah, workers aren't showing up. Workers aren't going to these little markets and stuff like that. And everything they would usually go to. It's just, you're going to have stuff that's going to go. So it's all going to have an effect at some point here.
Yeah,
100%. Brian just said his friend has chickens and gives them fresh eggs. Well,
that's awesome.
That's great for you.
Yeah,
I have some friends that do eggs. They have chickens. They do eggs. And they sell them out as a side hustle.
I grew up. I grew up. We had
chickens. No, you have not.
That's true.
You have not.
That is a blatant lie. But when I was a child, we had chickens, and one of my chores was to go out and fight them for their eggs.
Yeah.
The leghorns didn't mind so much. They'd lay the eggs and they'd leave, but it was the pullet. Man, that thing was nasty. It didn't want to give up its eggs.
Yeah.
So I got a little. Do I still have scars? No, I don't. From the rooster. The rooster on the other hand. That thing was.
I'll say he didn't. They didn't want. They didn't leave you the eggs.
And the rooster was a leghorn, by the way. But we did not name him Foghorn.
I did see a comedian say once, isn't a scrambled egg just a fried chicken?
Not wrong.
Not wrong.
And I've also seen that meme where they're doing cutlets, and they're dipping the chicken cutlets in the eggs. Going, I shall bathe you in the carcasses of your children.
I shall bathe you in the carcasses of your children.
That is morbid, but that is funny.
Well, I'm going to grab another beer here too.
Please do.
I really enjoyed this beer, John. Thank you so much for tossing me one of these.
You are very welcome.
That is fantastic. That's one of the best Scotch ales I've had in a very
anytime I go to Treehouse, and they have whatever version of their Scotch ale, I get a 4-pack.
I think up to this point, my favorite Scotch ale was having Belhaven on tap.
Okay.
There's St. Andrews in New York City in the Broadway area.
Had
Belhaven's? Yeah, Belhaven's.
Belhaven,
Scotch ale on tap, and that's yums.
Have you had the Dark Horse Scotty Karate?
I have not.
I know, but
I've heard of it. I've never had it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out of Dark Horse out of Michigan. The Scotty Karate, that and the barrel aged version.
They're way up north in Michigan, though.
Yeah, I was talking to John about that a while back, Sardumsky, about that beer.
Yeah, it's a decent one.
Yeah.
So actually, I have to speak at one of the universities tomorrow for kids to possibly recruit into the financial industry, but. So I'm having a Cincy Light right now, kind of mixing it up. From Ryan, this is from Ryan Guys.
Ryan Guys.
Oh yeah, know that logo.
Yeah. So 4.2. If you haven't had this one before, not usually a light beer type drinker, but I was like, you know what?
No, you're looking for something there.
We'll moderate a little. There you go.
There you go.
And I mean, it's typical. Look at that, like light top lager.
Yeah. You look fantastic through it, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do.
You look really good.
Yeah. So it's funny because Ryan Guys here in Cincinnati, for the longest time, they could not get over being seen as the IPA brewer because they were so strong with Truth and other stuff they were doing. And it was like, we do other stuff, and everybody's like, yeah, but it's really your IPA stuff. And they really did a lot of work over the years to kind of say we can do a lot of different things. And so this is one of their newer renditions they release.
And what are you thinking of it? What are you thinking of
it? I mean, it's great. It smells like a macro, really. It's just the graininess up front.
Is there a little corn in there or not?
It's got that feel to it. It's definitely to try to get the macro type drinkers in, I think. But it's nice and light. It's crisp. It's refreshing. it doesn't have like an aftertaste on the back end.
I was going to ask
the
that.
macro. Yeah, so I will say that you don't have that little draw that's kind of, I want to say almost like cardboard like feel to the back end. This one has a nice little effect with the gradiness, which you would expect a craft beer to maybe have a little bit more to hold, right? So,
and you get that cardboard feel when you've got a brewery that has let their hops sit around too long and then use them.
Yeah,
that's where you're going to get that flavor.
Right.
See, that's what I'm a craft.
The dry hopped cardboard lager is what.
Yes. So what I do have a craft beer light. That's one thing I do enjoy about it is it's got that flavor of, that beer that you use to grill by,
right?
But doesn't have that awful aftertaste and doesn't taste like complete ass when it warms up.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I can see this one being a popular one. Spring here, summer, lawnmower beer, be a perfect one. 4.2 ABV, softball beer, golf beer, whatever you're out doing. So they're going to do a lot with Cincy Light, I'm sure.
A beer and boogie league.
Yeah,
that's what they used to call it back in the day.
It's like garage beer, right? So garage beer originally started in Cincinnati. It was it was Braxton over in Northern Kentucky that had the Braxton garage beer. And they ended up selling it to be its own little thing where it became the garage beer line. So we did the Braxton garage beer with lime, the regular garage beer, and everybody loved it and stuff. So people were surprised when they sold it off, but it's kind of crazy seeing it out there by itself now. But if you get the garage beer and you look on the can, it'll have on there like founded by Braxton.
Founded by Braxton.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, one thing that always amazed me about Rheingeist is that you walk in a Rheingeist, right? You're standing in the tap room, which obviously it's huge, all right, and the production facility is right there too, and the tanks with 200 barrel tanks. I mean, they're huge.
Yeah,
a huge production facility right there. But you're on the third floor of the building.
Yeah.
So all those tanks, all that weight is on. It's not on, your base floor. It's on the third floor up. I mean, granted, it's supported, obviously, but it's still amazing that, it's
a feat of engineering.
It's a feat of engineering that they actually got the tanks in there. Obviously, they put them in the pot, right? But that roof, the roof deck is amazing too. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the roof is on fire.
The rooftop is nice up there.
Rooftop bar is very nice up top. Yeah.
Years ago, one of my other friends that worked at Rheingeist when I was doing the stuff here took me on a tour around the brewery. Pretty cool stuff going out into the basement and stuff because the brewery itself is based off another older brewery. So there's like a spot down in the basement that at the time we went, and again, this is probably about 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago, where it was like you could go under the step area and all this kind of stuff, and people would go down there like kind of treasure digging. And they would find like old bottles from breweries like back in like the 40s and stuff like that. It was kind of cool, just some of the stuff. I don't know how much of the stuff they ended up totally having down there, but you would find all kinds of different things from just the past. It was like just going back, and occasionally you'll stumble across something that you'll find under some of these dirt or rocks and stuff like that and everything. But it was cool. We went through the whole canning line and grabbed the beers right off the canning line, like the Vernon Shirley. And that was cool.
Shamazel.
Exactly.
All the millennials and Z's are like, "Who's Laverne and Shirley?" Yeah, you had to be there.
You guys don't know Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated? Come on.
I got to be honest with you. That's one beer that I never had. I never had anything from Shots.
Yeah.
Although I did get a bottle once that had a glove on it, but
bye.
So yeah, Rheingeist, great history. They're doing some great things. I mean, they're probably the one brewery in Cincinnati that probably has the furthest distribution, I think now. Because I know like people in Massachusetts get Rheingeist, and I know they were in Michigan and some other states, but like Mad Tree's doing well, but I don't know if they're everywhere. Braxton is doing well, but again, outside of their garage beer being sold off, I don't know if a lot of people get a lot of their stuff. So Rheingeist is kind of like one of those. I wouldn't say they were necessarily the top brewery, but they're definitely the one that's kind of the beacon on the hill, so to speak, that people kind of know Cincinnati now.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. I anytime I get to Cincy, I'll hit a couple of the breweries. I'll hit a couple of them, but I'll always wind up stopping by Rheingeist.
Yeah, and Mad Tree was just written up by one of the publications, I forgot which one it was, is one of the like top 25 breweries to keep your eye on and stuff. They just opened up a second location, which is pretty cool.
That's a little behind the times because they've been one of the top breweries to keep an eye out on for a little bit now.
Yeah. Well, they're always doing different things out there. So, I mean, some of these writers in these magazines, so you always question some of their stuff anyway. Like, sometimes here's a top 10 beer. Like, how the hell did this beer get on the list? Type thing.
Well, it always makes you wonder how much did they stroke their ego while they were there? How much free swag did they give them? Right. We have in New Jersey NJ.com, and a lot of the top 10 lists or things that come out there is one of the authors there that everyone knows he's pretty much on the take from every place that he's ever reviewed. Because it's no other way to explain.
It's not like they're on the like he's dancing on a fine line and it's palate, right? He's rating some stuff. He's giving it a top rating, second place, third place, stuff that's garbage.
Yep.
And like, so there's no way that his palate is that bad.
Yeah.
Especially when one of the other ones or twos or threes in that same rating is actually really good.
Yeah.
So,
I've been to beer events where I was a judge, and we've had some of the judges pull out because that person was going to be one of the judges. They say either he goes or we go.
Wow, like the lessons of credibility,
exactly. And the people had enough clout that person was asked to not come.
Wow. Yeah.
So you do wonder about this with a lot of these lists is, how much were they taken care of?
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to look at it.
Well, it's always like a cringe thing when someone puts out. I always say, like, if I do like a list or whatever, I'm like, these are just the ones that I've had, right? I put a disclaimer or something out there, right? Like people are like, these are the best 50 breweries in the United States. Like, really? Have you been to all of them? 10,000? Because you really can't do that unless you've been to them all, right?
Exactly.
Or these are the 5 best Belgian ales. Have you tasted all the Belgian ales in the world? So I always get put off when I see some stuff like that. There's not a disclaimer. Like I always say, these are the ones, because I tell people always like to ask when you're doing beer, like, what's your favorite beer right now? I can't answer. I mean,
well, right now you can answer right now, but what's your favorite beer of all time? It's like, I can't tell you that.
You can't.
You can't tell you that now.
And even a favorite beer, like it can change. If I have a beer at noon that knocks me off my seat, that might become my best beer. It's just like I can tell you my favorite styles that I've enjoyed, but when you get to like narrowing it down or whatever, like I say, that's like your best kid. Well, some people will say, well, my favorite kid is I don't want you to call your kid.
You're not supposed to have a favorite kid, but that's the whole thing. It's like, you want me to remember my favorite beer ever? I drink a lot. My memory's not that good.
Yeah.
It's just,
and I tell you, I live in the moment. I'm in the moment at that point.
And that's bad thing.
The reason I have Untapped is more for my own personal recollection. When I check stuff in, I go back and see stuff and just like, recall things I may have had or whatever. It's not like, I can't do like a Star Trek fan and remember episode 57, scene 25, when Kirk landed on planet Pluto or whatever, and this happened, blah, blah, blah. I can't do all that. Like, I'm in the moment. I live in it. I can tell you some of my favorite things, but I will say the ones that stand out definitely leave a mark from the ones that don't. Like when you have really good standout beers, those ones they notch a space in your mind. You remember them. Well,
here's the other thing. We've brought this up on the show a few times. A lot of beers that may not have been that best beer you ever had, but at that moment, where you were, the people you were drinking it with, and the whole atmosphere will impact how much you enjoy that beer.
Yeah.
So if you got that beer canned, and you got another beer from the same style and drank them side by side, that beer that you thought was the best you ever had may not come out on top of the other one, because it's really also, like you said, it's about being in that moment.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just the beer. It's like, Mickey's Big Mouth isn't going to win any pageants, but when I have a Mickey's Big Mouth, it takes me back to high school with my friends in the backyard. I sneak in beers and drinking, doing like the hand grenades and stuff.
I'll be honest
with you. A couple years ago, we went to a comedy show at a comedy club, and it was a BYOB. So when we got there, we went into the liquor store next door, and they didn't have any craft beer, whatever they had. I just didn't feel like it. And I saw a 24-ounce can of the singles of Jenny Cream. And I'm like, that takes me back 40 years, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So Boom. I grabbed two. They were like $1.99 each. I'm like, boom. I grabbed two of them. Done. I'm good. Throw them in ice. Open it, pour it half, put it back in the ice, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You got to.
Beers,
you don't want to. You don't actually taste the beer.
You don't want to. But corn in all its glory from that. But it was
corn in all its glory. This is the beer that actually closes the tank to keep the what's the chemical that throws cream corn? Yeah, whatever it is. They actually
DMC.
Run DMC. No, not Run DMC. But there's
I can't. It's on my tip of my tongue. I can't think. Yeah, but go ahead.
DMC. Yeah. But at any rate, there's a point in the brewing process where if you're supposed to open the tanks to off gas this, and it's a very simple procedure. Right. They purposely keep it closed so it sinks right back into the beer, so it tastes more like cream corn. It's absolutely 100% intentional, and people love that flavor in that beer. The people that love that beer, that's why they love that beer.
Yeah, they become used to it. It becomes a part of it at that point. It's like some of the mistakes are your best winners sometimes. So
it also comes to, like you said, what you're used to. Because we were talking about Belgian chocolate earlier. Europeans hate American chocolate. The reason they hate American chocolate is there's a compound American chocolate that we use to keep the milk fresh, to get from the dairy to where they make the chocolate. Because this country's huge, right? Where in Europe they don't need to do these things. What they put in there is an acid. It's the same acid that is apparent in vomit.
Butyric
acid. Butyric or buceric? Bucleric acid. Yeah. And they put this in chocolate. So that's why every European hates American chocolate, because it tastes like puke to them. And there's a good reason for it. It's because there is that. But as Americans, this is the chocolate we grew up on. Right. Yeah. We grew up in Hershey's. We grew up in Nestle's. This is what chocolate should taste like. Then, if you've got an open mind, you get your hands on some Swiss chocolate, some Belgian chocolate, you're like, why do I like our chocolate?
Yeah.
But you still eat it because it's what you grew up with. A Hershey's Kiss is still an amazing, little piece of chocolate in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Not to Europeans, but that's to the whole point with the bucleric acid in Jenny. This is what they grew up with. It's what they're used to. This is what they enjoy. Right?
Indeed.
It'll explain why people are still drinking Coors Light and Budweiser. It's what they grew up with.
I mean, that's what they're used to, that taste. And for some of them, is somebody will tell you, like, I drink it because my dad drank it, my granddad drank it, or whatever, and they kind of just, after a point, it becomes like a traditional type thing too. So
it does.
Well, then there's also kind of that. That almost toxic masculinity comes in it sometimes. So,
right.
You drink craft beer, you're one of those, huh? Yeah. You're not a real man because you don't drink this beer that tastes bad. It's like, okay, thank you very much for that. Go enjoy your NASCAR race.
Well, I'm gonna actually open my third beer.
Not to disparage NASCAR. I watch.
No.
I do, but
I'm in a pool for every Daytona 500, so I definitely keep an eye on it. That's for sure.
I haven't watched it in a while. I haven't. Oh God, I don't think I've watched it since Darryl Waltrip left the booth.
Oh wow, yeah.
We won. He was my favorite driver for the longest time when he drove the number 10 Tide cart. He was my driver. But at any rate,
we won the pool a couple years ago, right before we went on vacation to Asheville. It was like 2 days before we left. I'm like, beautiful, money, pocket, vacation done. It was perfect.
What's that third beer you got there, Johnny?
So my third beer,
if I don't know,
as if you don't know, it's definitely an oldie, a good old goodie, an old reliable goodie, and it's also one of my favorite styles as well. And that would be Double Bag from Long Trail. It's a Sticker Alt.
Long Trail does some good stuff. Yeah,
Sticker Alt.
A Sticker Alt right there, Double Bag. Matt just had one when he was up in Connecticut, and he didn't. Of course, it was only draft only. He couldn't bring me back, right?
So sucks for him.
Yeah. Sucks.
Speaking of draft, so here, like in Ohio,
oh God.
We have our Kroger's can have taps.
Oh, really?
So you could drink while you're grocery shopping in the grocery store.
That's cool.
And I didn't do it the other day, but I looked at it and I was like, maybe if I come back this weekend, I'll get it. They had Bourbon County Stout on tap for like $5. I know.
$5 for a pour.
Yeah, for
that's
$5.
As cheap as that is, I'm still torn.
It's like $5. And I don't know if they try to give it to you in a snifter or a pint, but either way, that's a good price on tap.
Yeah, the last time I had it, because I refuse to buy anything that's
right.
The money goes back to APE and Bev.
Yeah.
The last time I had it was a beer festival, and people like, you still paid for the ticket, so you're cheating. I'm like, the ticket was comped. So I paid nothing for that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm coming back to this 3 times because this is a little loophole in my beer morality.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the hell out of that. Like, I can drink this clear conscience.
Yeah. Drink this with clear conscience.
You know, Florida allows taps at their grocery stores too.
Florida does too. Okay, yeah. There's a few places. Yeah,
Whole Foods has had a little bar in it, and it's funny because it was in Boynton Beach. My brother lived in Boynton Beach, and we're getting ready to do like a big cook. I'm like, give me the list, I'll go. And his wife was like, "Your brother's going to do the shopping." He's like, he found out that they've got a bar in the middle of the. I'm like, shh! Don't out me like that.
Yeah, here like Whole Foods you can go into. And people go there to get like a lunch, like the hot bar like that and everything. Right. And they got like 5 or 6 taps right there. So people have a beer with their lunch right there.
Oh, this one had one right in the middle of the store. Yeah. With stools all around it.
Yeah, that's how funny. Some of ours are. Yeah.
Yeah. So the cool thing is you actually had to get through the grocery carts to the store, to the stools. Or half the people at the bar were just the husbands that were left there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that, they didn't keep putting Oreos into the grocery cart.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, because if they were my physique, the was probably trying to get them to lose weight.
Oh, I got you. So
getting them at a bar. Yeah.
So I saw this posted in one of the craft beer groups. I think it was one of the Rhode Island ones, Dave. So it's posted. It was either today or yesterday. I saw this posted. And it really has me befuddled, if you will. It really has me.
Oh, well, it's Rhode Island. Of course, it's befuddled.
Concerned. No. It's not for Rhode Island. It was a study done. I don't know when it was done. They posted this today or yesterday. One of them. Yeah, it says America's favorite beers. Okay, via popularity by millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers. So boomers' #1 beer is Guinness. Gen Xers' #1 beer is Guinness, and millennials' #1 beer is Heineken. Boomers and Gen X, #2, Heineken, and millennials, #2, Modelo. All 3, boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials, their #3 beer is Corona. Where are they getting this data from?
I don't know, but if you notice, the percentages don't add up.
Yeah, probably. I guess.
Oh, I guess it's of the full population.
Right, of the full population, 60% of millennials like Heineken, 59% like Modelo, 59.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was a limited list.
I'm thinking they surveyed their 5 friends. Is my
I think they said of these beers, which of these? I don't see because
here's the thing, and not that I'm any bit of a proponent for AB. We were just talking about that. The only instance of Budweiser on here at all is 9th place for millennials. So now while there's no real craft on here, I'm shocked that there's no other Budweiser anywhere on here either.
Stella's AB and Bev.
Well, no, I meant
but I think they may have done it with like macro names and just said of these like 15 or 20 what beers, how would you prefer? And so
like they never gave them a choice. You tell us what you like.
Yeah.
They just said, here's 15 names. What of these do you like?
Or
the only craft on there was Sam Adams.
Basically. Or they were canvassing the people coming out of the liquor store downstairs there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or they just looked at the credit card data based on the demographics and who was buying and looked at what they bought during one Saturday afternoon. And that's what they did.
Yeah, this is disappointing.
Yeah, we'll post this on the Logger Room page.
Tell us what you think. like the millennials, none of them had Samuel Adams up there. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't think any of them drank Samuel Adams. Well, no, they don't drink Sam Adams.
But the most glowing one here is the 6th place beer for millennials.
Yeah, White Claw. Yeah,
White Claw. Last I checked, White Claw wasn't a beer.
No.
Let's see.
And I'm actually surprised that Guinness even made the list for millennials.
Yeah, really.
That's why we don't talk about millennials.
The only reason, the thing is, millennials are.
Hey, we're not that far away from Generation Alpha drinking now. Because
Yeah.
Gen Zers are getting.
Oh, I can tell you, Gen Alpha is going to be. They're going to be THC.
they're not drinking anything.
No, they won't drink at all.
Or they'll drink THC beverages and eat their gummies. That's what they'll do.
The only thing I like, the only thing with the millennials now is the millennials have finally realized that Gen X wasn't entirely wrong, and now they're looking at Gen Z and going, "Don't fuck with Gen X. You're not going to win. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. What is wrong with you? We tried. We lost. We understand where they're coming from now." Because we learned one thing that's very, very important about Gen Xers. They don't give a shit. They just don't care. We thought
we're the last of the latchkey kids. We are.
I mean, we should be like the quiet generation. And maybe some maybe look at what I'm saying, because
we are, but
when we went to school, there was always the quiet kid, and your parents say, "Don't mess with that kid. That kid is that quiet. Don't mess with the quiet kid, because that's the one that'll kick your ass." And that's how we are, kind of. We're like that quiet generation. Leave us alone. Let us do what we do. Don't come over here with any of your shit, because if you do, we're going to handle it, and you're not going to like how we handle it.
But we are the last generation where, as we grew up and through college, we did not have these to keep records of what we did.
Right, that's true.
There's no videos of our shenanigans.
Fortunately.
I mean, we were the generation, I think, that came up with snitches get stitches.
Oh,
that's the only way somebody found out. Somebody had to tell on them.
Yeah, that's the only way.
We're also that generation where it's like you get the new kid at school, and somebody said, "Well, be kind," because if a teacher says this kid doesn't like this or everything, we poke the bear. So we don't have to, whatever you tell us not to do, we're going to do it. We're going to do it a lot of times. So
I did see there was a tweet out there. It's like, every Gen Xer went a lot further on their bikes than their parents ever knew.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had. They were given limits. Don't go past this road. Don't go past this road. Don't go past this road.
And early though too. I remember being in first grade and riding my bike to my friend's house. You show me one parent today that has a first grader that's letting them ride their bike to their friend's house.
Show me one first grader that knows how to ride a bike.
Well, that too.
Yeah. God, first we were like running around in the woods getting lost and stuff back in the day.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
I mean,
and the thing is, I looked now on a map
at how big when that street light comes on, your ass is home when that street light comes on.
But I look at some of those woods that we would go in and have our adventures and get lost in. I look at it on a map and like, that was only 2 blocks square.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it seemed bigger.
I really thought I was lost in Mirkwood. What the hell? Only 2 blocks.
Well, I'll say Kelly Manning was right. Literally, we're the only generation too that our parents had to be reminded to go check on your kids, because you might not know where they're at.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
You know where your children are.
They literally had to be reminded.
And a lot of parents would be like, "I don't worry until 11."
Literally had to be reminded.
Remind me in an hour.
And I've said that to like a younger coworker in like their mid-20s. I'm like, and they're just like, where's this attitude come from? Like, you got to remember, I was raised by the generation that literally had to be reminded they had children.
Yeah,
every single night by the local.
They read that commercial. This is your brain on drugs, and they showed it. I like mine scrambled. And then
that's not my brain on drugs.
And then
move that fork around a little bit. There you go.
And then when we were getting our driver's license, and we sit in the high school auditorium or whatever, they're showing us the video about things you don't do when you're driving, and they're having wrecks, and we're sitting there laughing at the wrecks, and they're looking at us like, "What is wrong with you guys?"
That's the way we brought up.
Yeah.
Brian just said, "Thank God there is no video evidence of what I did in the 70s and 80s. I got halfway across the Tappan Zee Bridge before he got caught and had to turn around."
Got caught doing what, Brian?
Yeah.
He didn't say.
I'm just asking. You never know. He's had a triple IPA. He may be a little forthcoming.
That's true. Yeah.
That reminds me there, John, is the I told you the story. He said, don't forget the story of what we did back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But the other night we were talking. Yeah. So back in I guess it was 85. What year did The Fly come out? Like with Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis?
85, 86.
Like 85.
Yeah.
So me and three of my high school buddies, we went to go watch The Fly at AMC. It was actually AMC down in Marlton, New Jersey. And have fun there. Great time, cracking jokes, all kinds of stuff in the theater. We had people cracking up and everything, just like some of the funny things. Left to drive home. So we got back to Burlington, and my one friend, like, I want to go to candy bars and everything. So we go to AM/PM. So you go in there. So he goes to AM/PM. And so me and my other friends thought it'd be funny because I was the one driving and said, we'll pull around back and act like we left from there, right? So you come out freaking out, like, where'd they go? Like type thing or whatever. So we do that, play a little prank on them. Well, across the street, unbeknownst to us at the time, there was a police car. So the police car, I think, thought we were trying to case out the joint or whatever, right? So again, this is mid 80s. I would not recommend any of you young kids do this today, especially
don't do this now.
Of this complexion. Yeah. But so we pick them up, and so we leave, and the police car starts to follow us. And I can see him in the rearview fog or something like that. So we're in our hometown. We know where we're at. We know where everything is. And I was like, told you guys, watch this one. I turned off on the side street. He turned off on the side street. I ended up looping around this police officer who apparently wasn't familiar with the area. And I started following the police car.
That's amazing.
So I'm following the police car as we head down to the light of Burlington to go to Route 130 before we made a right turn and go back to Burlington. And he gets to the light. He goes through the light because he's a cop. He can do that. So we're like, okay, we'll go back home. So we go back home. Well, the cop ends up going around and ends up coming out of a Dairy Queen parking lot behind us again. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So then we take another turn to go back to one of our side streets to go into Burlington. So in the street that we were on, it wasn't like a segregated type area, but it was kind of where we went to. We had Gore Square in Burlington, where it was like mainly probably like 80% black on the left side of the street. And on the white side, it's probably about 70-80% white or whatever. But you guys mixing, it wasn't like anything ever issues between the two areas.
Right.
So I made the right turn into that area and started going around again because we had friends over there too. So I was going to loop them around again. Out of nowhere, it was like 7 police cars.
Oh,
lights flashing, everything like that and everything. And then we're sitting there, and one of them was on their little megaphone. Passengers, hands on the back of the driver's seat. Driver, hands on the steering wheel. Blah blah blah. All kind of stuff to make us come out. And then they're like all searching the car. And of course, it's always the little one in the group, right? That has the biggest mouth. So our little friend Damon is his name. And he was just like, what y'all looking for, drugs? We got rid of those. He's like, just
you're not helping.
So the police can't find anything or like that, everything. They're all pissed at us for doing stuff. Because, we're just doing high school hijinks, really. So they're like, well, go home. Like, we ain't got to go home. We got no curfew, blah, blah. So, anyway, we ended up going home. It's so funny because I ended up telling my mom what ended up happening that night. And her friend, her son was a lieutenant on that same police force. And I basically said, 4 black kids driving around, all these white cops stopped us and blah, blah, blah. And so he ended up reaming out the police that stopped us for no reason whatsoever.
Nice.
But it was one of those things like, why did we do it? I don't know. It was just something to do because it was there. That's how it was back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So don't do that nowadays, though.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'll tell you. Well, hold on. Well, first of all, who didn't run from the cops when we were kids?
I did all the time. I had a Camaro.
We
in high school.
I got a story about that too, by the way. But go ahead.
Well, we were there were several places we drank, right? We went to, and somebody got beer or whatever, and we drank, and then the police would come in, and it was like an unwritten rule. I mean, it wasn't like we even tried to, but we did notice after a while, okay, that if we had finished everything or if we took it with us, they kept chasing us. If we left it there, they didn't. And we thought that, okay, they realized that we left it, we were going home, they let us go. In retrospect, I'm thinking, all right, well, we gave them a present. So they were like, "Screw it, we got this out of it."
My funniest ever traffic stop. I worked up at Yards Creek Boy Scout camp, and the program director and I ran the rifle range. We're heading home one day.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
And I stopped for gas, and we went to the convenience store, and we got some snacks. And as we're going down the road, now this is up in like Warren County.
Mm-hmm.
Warren? No, probably Hunterdon. We're probably in Hunterdon County at the time.
6-1.
And I see a cop at the side of the road, with a speed gun. So as I'm driving along, I'm flashing my headlights to let people know, hey, there's a cop up there. I did that to a cop, apparently. Next thing I know, woo! The headlights come on. Their lights come on.
Yeah, you're not allowed to flash your lights.
Yeah. So I'm in a
no touching of that button, sir.
Is that really a law though? Like
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
It's like blackjack. Like you can read cards. It's just frowned upon.
So they're pissed off that I'm flashing people.
Well, I would be too, but
yeah, my headlights. That is.
All right.
It's their disappointment.
But yes, they're lost. But I'm in a '77 ratty ass Cutlass at the time. So they pull me over. So I get the feeling they thought they were getting two dirt bags drinking beers in a Cutlass that are flashing traffic. You got a cop come either side of the car. The guy coming with the passenger side, he's got a flashlight. And he flashes it in the car. First thing that the flashlight settles on is the quarts of milk. Then it settles on the package of Oreos. Then it moves over to my passenger onto his Boy Scout uniform. And then the flashlight goes out. You've just pulled over two Boy Scouts with milk and cookies.
I thought you were going to say you had 17 rifles in the car.
I was thinking.
No. I wasn't allowed to take those off of. Oh my God, the ranger would have killed me if I had moved anything off the rifle range. Period. But yeah, a couple of dirt bags with marijuana and beer. No, you got two Boy Scouts with milk and cookies.
Yeah.
Needless to say, they let us
went on your way.
Yes. They said, you've got a tail light out.
You do.
Which I don't think I did.
Yeah, no. Well, that's always the case. I got one for you really quick. Brian just said they were on bicycles going over the Tappan Zee.
That's you got tired, did you?
Yeah, and he said he had a 71 Cutlass.
My mom had a Cutlass Supreme back in the late 70s, early 80s, I think.
Oh, no, my Cutlass was a 73. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep,
I used to race her Cutlass Supreme.
My cousin had, and it's one of those. Yeah, I got a list of cars. Like if I ever hit the lottery, there's a list of cars I'm going to buy. Older cars. Like I'm buying the cars that I've had back, not my specific car, just that year and make and model, whatever. And I'm sure I won't do it either. But my cousin had a 71 Oldsmobile 442, and this thing was
which was the Cutlass, and 71 was the last year of the Cutlasses looking badass.
Yeah.
They were badass back in the day, and the 442. That was one of the most underrated muscle cars.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I loved riding that thing. I would. That was one thing I'd definitely look for. Brian just said there are no bikes allowed on the Tappan Zee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to work. At a nightclub as a valet, and we parked all kinds of things.
And where was that, Brian? Brian.
Looking
at Brian. I'm looking at Brian's name.
Okay.
And where was that, Dave?
That was in Neptune, right 2 doors down from Kelly's. That made the.
There you go.
That made the Rubens we talked about.
Yeah.
But I parked Porsches, I parked Lamborghinis, I parked Maseratis, Lotuses. My favorite car that ever came out of that lot was the 442.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things you got in it, the motor's running, it's not in gear, and you sit down in the seat and you can feel in the seat.
It's like those moments. It's like that moment where you want to have that Ferris Bueller moment where you just want to go for a ride until the guy wants to start picking up, right?
Don't worry, we're professionals. That car, oh my God, that car was amazing. My second favorite is probably the Grand National.
Yeah, Grand National's the one I wanted when I was in high school.
Grand Nationals were nice.
Well, the thing is, I said to the guys, like, so is this car really, really fast? He goes, yeah, get on it. So I get on it, and the problem with the Grand National is it's
well, it's a Regal, but it's a Regal.
It's a Buick Regal, but it's the problem with it is it's all about the turbo,
right?
And it takes a half second for that turbo to kick in. So by the time the turbo kicked in, I am headed straight towards a line of cars as that thing tears off and is smoking the tires. And I had to fishtail it around a corner to avoid those cars. I get back. Let's put it this way. The man who owned this car looked a little like Ving Rhames.
Okay.
All right.
And he
hold on. Ving Rhames in Pulp Fiction, or Ving Rhames in I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
Pulp Fiction. And I really wish he said...
There's a difference.
There's a difference. And I really wish he had said to me, you and me, we're nothing. Because he goes, I thought you were going to wreck my car. I'm like, so did I. And the thought that went through my head is, if I wreck this car, I hope I die in this wreck. Because what he's going to do to me. Oh, this man was huge. Oh, he was huge, but that car was something else.
That's great.
And that was my favorite. That actually was my favorite part. And I know every Gen X male during the Super Bowl halftime show went, Grand National.
Oh, yeah.
Am I wrong?
No,
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Like, holy shit, that's a Grand Nash.
Yeah.
I wasn't it. Look, I'm going to ask both of you because, like, we're all within a year of each other, right? So, I got to ask you guys your opinion, and it's not just. I hope it's not just me, and if it is, I want to know, right? Because I'll do something about it, right? But is it just me, or was music better in the '80s? Were movies better in the '80s? Were TV shows better in the '80s? Was pop culture better in the '80s? Were cars better in the '80s? Should I keep going on? And when I say '80s, I mean late '70s to mid '90s. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is why I'm going to say yes, and because I think there's empirical evidence for it. The evidence is today's younger generations are listening to our music. They're watching our movies. They're trying to remake our movies. Our culture has been recycled into the younger culture. But when you look at it, they're all listening to our music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's the music that we grew up with has become timeless.
Like somebody the other day asked me which of the newer artists of the last even 20 years, what's one of your favorite artists? And the first thing that I say is Bruno Mars. But Bruno Mars is
Morris
70s
Day.
funk.
So he's Morris. He's like the next Morris Day.
Right. Yeah.
Once you see Morris Day and Time do it, you're like, yeah. I mean, I saw it back in the '80s when Morris Day and Time did it too, right? So, I think in parts, like my wife always says, when I say something like that, she's like, "Well, that's because you're getting old or whatever now." I'm like,
well, that's what I'm worried about, right? That's why I'm worried. I feel that way, right?
Yeah. Thanks, honey. Now get off my lawn. Yeah.
Everywhere I go, even in places that are ran by younger generation, they are playing our music. It is our music there, and the music back then, the meanings are still like just timeless with the music. Like you have songs you listen to, and the music today, and again, this kind of goes back to the mass media owning so much stuff because you lost a lot of your independent labels. We grew up with independent labels, right? So we had all of that benefit.
We grew up with album-oriented rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you had things, whether it was on the independent side, like when you had like Ice Cube and Interscope, or Public Enemy on Def Jam, or you had the Rollins Band on their label, or you had Priority Records, you had Cowboy Junkies, you had REM before they blew up. Yeah, there was a lot of independent stuff that you don't have nowadays. So it's almost like you have to be a pop type thing, and they keep putting all this stuff on the radio, and it's kind of like some of it is like, to me, kind of nonsense. Like some of it you can't maybe understand. But again, I think like our parents said they couldn't understand some of the stuff we did either.
That's true.
So I don't know if it's like a transition type thing, but I will say I get tired of Hollywood making remakes of movies that we've seen. Like
Right.
just keep coming up with like new ideas.
Come up with new ideas,
Like,
because the movies, the remake is not as good as the original. If
Right.
you want to do that, re-release the original.
There's
You'll probably make as much, if not more,
I'll
money
say-
re-releasing the original than you will.
I'll say one thing. Every now and then they'll get a remake that
Put
does
some of the
not go-
cut footage out, throw that in there.
But some of the remakes, some of the reboots are sometimes just as good. Like take A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga.
Right. No, it was
That
fine.
was fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like, oh, well, Streisand was the first. No, Streisand was the second.
Right.
There was one part before Streisand. There's 3 of them, by the way.
Yeah.
And yes, the Streisand was fantastic, but so was the Lady Gaga version. So every now and then a remake does hit.
Judy Garland was the original, right?
Yes. Judy Garland was the original.
Yeah.
So
And that was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every now and then a remake does do well, but for the most part, and the thing is, I do like the remakes where they're taking something that was serious and just spoofing on it. You can tell they're spoofing on it.
Yeah.
Right, like you take even like a show we grew up with, 21 Jump Street, and you take the remake movie
With
It was-
22. Yeah.
it was a spoof.
You know what? I'm
Yeah.
fine with some of those. Like,
Right.
that's fine. If it's a laugher, that's good, But
Yeah.
but I'm like, I think about it and I'm like, here's one thing. Here's one point, right? All of my kids love, well, first of all, my oldest daughter, she loves 80s music. She loves the Beatles. The Beatles are one of her favorite bands. And she loves it. She loves
Which
some of
means
the newer stuff.
You raised her right.
Right.
Yeah.
My younger daughter likes some 80s music, but she's a huge country fan. Okay. Current country, not
Oh, not
Waylon
real,
Jennings,
not real country.
not 70s and yeah, right. And my son, who's going to be 25, my youngest, he likes some, actually he does like some classic rock, but he loves country right now too. He's got a Nashville, I don't know how many times. He just loves going down there. And I'm thinking to myself, and I was having this conversation with somebody, why is it that a lot of, and I say kids, I don't mean kids, I mean, late teens, 20 somethings, early 30s. Why is country so big now? Because it's actually, whether you like it or not, it's actually music. And I'm not this old man saying, oh, what's that, Kendrick Lamar crap. Yeah, I'm not even saying that because some of that stuff's good.
Oh yeah, really
I
good,
love,
actually.
but it's not, but for what I mean by that is like, where are the Rolling Stones? Where are the Beatles? Where are the, even the Foreigners and the U2s and the, those bands, the only bands like that exist anymore are those bands. They're still playing, right?
Yeah.
There's no new ones of those. There's no new bands anymore.
I'm gonna play.
There's just artists that record at home and release a single on YouTube.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a little bit.
My point is, hold on one second, because I don't want to hear it. But my point is, there's less and less and less decent music. Like there was so much music in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s and the 60s and 50s. And to Brian's point too, there was so much. There's less and less of it now. It's all the same sterile. I don't want to say garbage because it's, what, everybody, if you make a song, and I'm a musician, I've written plenty of songs. Some people like it, some people don't. That's fine. It is what it is, right? Just like beer. Some people like it, some people don't. It is what it is. But there's less and less variety and less, it's not like it used to be.
I'm gonna say you're wrong.
Of course I am.
You're wrong, and the reason you're wrong is not your fault. The reason you're wrong is
I'm old.
the bands you're talking about are not getting any airplay. Okay, I saw something. If you think there's no good music out there,
Right.
you're not looking hard enough.
No, you know what? You're right. On that nose.
On this nose or that nose?
On that nose.
Or Jay's nose.
You're right. No, I know. On that note, you're absolutely right. Because I do go out and I do see bands and I do see some, like, not even cover bands. I do see some original bands.
Oh yeah,
And they're playing good music. But they're like Rod said before, there's not like the media and just even record labels. There's no independent labels anymore. There's no.
They all want the same watered down stuff.
They all want the same watered down, sterile. What's that word I'm looking for? Saccharine shit.
Mm-hmm.
And because they know that stuff sells, so let's keep doing that because that's what these.
It's about money.
Right. Yeah, they essentially came in, they scooped up a lot of the independents or put them out of business, whatever, and basically said, okay, we're UMG, so we're your McDonald's.
Yeah.
We're Sony. We're like your Burger King. We're like
we're Walmart.
Yeah. So you've got other ones that are struggling to get their word out. That are like the smaller ones, but they get drowned out by some of the bigger type things. And having the radio background as well, although it wasn't as common after they kind of cracked down on it, but the whole payola type thing, where they weren't giving cash, they were giving other stuff to studios and stuff to get other music
usually to
be played out there. Yeah, well, that could, you go to the right party and that. You end up maybe at the Playboy Mansion or Epstein Island or something like that and everything. You never know. Yeah. Well, we got you on camera, so you'll play what we want you to play.
You will do what we want you to do. Yeah.
The thing I love about my younger son is
this wasn't around back then.
he's into music, and he's into all types of music. He loves the Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
The first time I played Rage Against the Machine for him, he sat back and went, "Whoa, who is this?" He really appreciates these things. And today, was it today? No, yesterday, he sent me a song by a band called Sticky Fingers.
I've heard of them actually.
I'm not, because I just listened to them yesterday.
It's called, and I'm listening to it going, oh my God, this is almost like Sublime meets the Wombats. And it's funny because they claim that they're not ska, that they're reggae. And true, yes, their beat is reggae, but that's got such a fun ska feel to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he finds these bands, and I think it's because he's a stoner. And stoners find the best music. Let's face it.
They do. You got to be comfortable. So
dude, I can put Bob Marley on right now for hours and be fine.
Oh my God! So here's the thing: my son and reggae. If if he's around a bunch of Jamaicans and he says, "Oh, I really into reggae," like, yeah, you like Bob Marley? Yeah, I love Bob Marley. Who else do you like? And he starts listening to bands he likes. They'll be like, "How you know this? You too white. How you know this?" when I say he's into reggae, he's deep into.
Does he like Tiger?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not deep enough into reggae.
Yeah. See, back in the '90s, we used to have dancehall reggae. So
that's a different type of reggae.
Yeah, we'd have Bushu Banton, and we'd have.
No, but he's into the old school pre-Whalers era.
Oh,
reggae.
Okay.
Oh, that deep. That's why the Jamaicans are like, "How you know this?
Yeah.
You should have known this. What's going on here?" So it's pretty funny how he can get into this.
What I want to know is if do some people that like reggae like the Police?
Because it's reggae.
There's a lot of reggae influence in the Police.
Yeah.
Which we call. I was really quick. Brian had put up 70s cars, music, and movies. 100% them as well. Yeah. He said in the late 60s. Brian, I'll go back to the 50s. It's all good with that. And then, but he did say most 80s cars sucked. Some 80s cars sucked. I'll give you that.
Most did. You got to remember the K car came out of the 80s.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
The Mustang 2 came out of the 80s.
But so
I didn't own any cars in the 80s that sucked.
The 280Z and the Trans Am, and
Well, yes, when the Japanese started putting cars out in the 80s, you started.
I did have a Firebird in '87. I can say that I have a Firebird in '87. Hold on, I had a Firebird in '87, and then I traded it in, and I bought
3000 GT.
I got an Eclipse in '89.
Oh, Eclipse. Okay.
But the Mitsubishi, if you remember the Mitsubishi in the Cannonball Run that Jackie Chan was in, that thing.
That was the other night.
Yeah, we were talking about Cannonball Run the other night.
So
you talk about 70s cars, still to this day, and I'm a big fan of watching like the Fast and Furious type stuff because I'm big into muscle cars. Okay. You can't beat the car scene from Bullet.
No.
Oh God, no! That Mustang, the
Mustang and the Charger.
The boss. It was the boss, right?
Yeah, and the Charger. Yeah, like
and the Charger.
You can't beat that like scene.
So John was talking about if he got a lot of money, the first thing he get. I would probably go out and get I think it's a 68 Camaro SS, the one with the hideaway headlights. It's the one from Better Off Dead.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit? One other thing I thought about, obviously this is like it's never gonna happen. By the way, Brian Boak just said third beer, enjoying some wooden beanie.
Yeah, I was gonna try to get another beer. Are we still going for a little bit?
Yeah, go to another beer.
Okay, let me grab another one.
Yep.
On that note, I'll wooden beanie, amazing beer. Amazing beer. Anybody out there doesn't know, Wooden Beanie is one of Brian's own beers, and it's his one of his beers aged.
You're turning this into an awkward moment.
Aged in, it is. I'm trying to stretch it until Rod gets back. So
we can talk about other things when Rod gets back.
And
we can bring up some more comments.
Right, there you go. I could do that. It's aged in Jack Daniel's barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans. So it's great beer. So, Kat Reyes, how are you, Kat? She put up cheers from Powell River, British Columbia.
Oh, very nice.
I'm using the strong dollar to keep these to
tip
these Canadians liberally. There you go.
Very nice, as they deserve it.
And then she said, they removed all the American alcohol from the shelves here, so I'm drinking only Canadian and European brands here.
So relevant to what we were talking about earlier.
Totally relevant to what we're talking about. Yeah. And you know what? While I'm upset that they did that or that they had to do that, how's that?
They were forced to do it. Yeah.
They were forced to do it. There's nothing wrong with what you're drinking. So enjoy that.
Not whatsoever.
And to be quite honest with you, whether they remove, if I was up there with you and
I would be drinking American brands.
I'd be drinking the Canadian and European brands anyway. So.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right.
So, oh man. It's funny because the Scotch ale has warmed up a bit.
Yep.
The chocolate note is not as sweet as it was when it warms up.
Yeah, you're right. It isn't.
It's a drier chocolate. It becomes more like a dark chocolate than a milk chocolate.
Yep. 100%.
And I'm enjoying that.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a complex, beautiful, beautiful beer.
What did you grab there, Rod?
Yeah, I was debating on what to get. Did I want one I already had and I could use the same glass, or do I want something different? Because that meant a new glass. So,
how much do I want to wash later?
Yeah, so decided to go ahead and get a Great Lakes Vivacious.
There you go.
So,
look at the size of that can.
That's what she said. 19.2 ounce.
Look at the size of that can.
Yeah.
So that's usually what he said.
That's usually what he said.
Well, only not if there better be two, right? Because you went cans.
Well, it depends because can is also an old school term for the backside.
Rear end.
And then a single.
Oh, okay. Well, that could work too. But yeah.
So this is a can. These are cans.
Yes.
These are cans. Yeah. So yeah, this is one of their double IPAs they came out with recently over the last year or so. But yeah, because these are rather easy to get. But 19.2 ounce again, stovetop. So this is
stovepipe.
Stovetop. Stuffing or can, whatever. Anyway, and this is something
that's a lot. That is
a beer called stuffing in a stovepipe. Done.
Yeah.
But right now, Rod J is holding a fortune in aluminum in his hand.
He really is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Crackheads will be after these.
Why are we throwing out all of our cans? I mean,
right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely recycle now. Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Every state needs to have the Brewers Association, Brewers Guild, come together and work on a recycling, collect all the cans themselves, and then right.
I mean, some states you can still get change back on the bottles, so bring it back on the cans as well. But what I was going to say, about this. This is one I picked up at one of the local spots here. It's $2.99, so $2.99 for this. But I always joke about we got rid of the 22 ounce bombers,
right?
Yeah.
Only to work ourselves now back up where people are going to 19.2 ounce cans. So I'm like, was that 2.8 really that bad that we got to get rid of? I mean, we're kind of edging right back up to where we try to get away from. So,
yeah, no, you're not wrong.
You're
not wrong.
And these things are starting to approach like those malt lickers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
it's not.
They were in 40s.
They're putting like 6% or something. They're putting like 9.5. I've seen like 10% and stuff.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
That's insane. I've seen. What's the big Founders IPA that they put in the big cans?
All day IPA.
No. That's a low ABV one.
The big. Oh, I thought you meant big, like it's out.
No, the real big resiny one.
Centennial.
The one with the hop oil.
Centennial.
Might be Centennial.
No, not the one with the.
Although I haven't drank a Founders in a long time.
Maybe it's not Founders. Is it a Sierra?
The Founders has Centennial. That's a big one, I think, for them.
It is. That's not what I'm talking about.
I used to enjoy the Founders Dark Penance when they used to have that back.
Yeah, Dark Penance.
Oh my god,
that was one of my favorite beers.
That's good beer.
I got to remember what it is. It's a very, very big resiny.
Are you talking about Bell's? The
No. It's
Hop
more,
Slam.
It's one of these things that you can go to. You can go see the option.
Hop Slam. There was Hop Solution too,
and they may have it there. It was a hop oil beer, and I can't remember the name of it now.
It wasn't Sierra Nevada wet hops or anything.
No, it wasn't Hop Hunter either.
Kat just said, was it Amarillo?
No, it wasn't Amarillo.
Yeah, and Brian said it's his Wooden Beanie, it's his Abbey Brown, or his Two Blind Monks. His Abbey Brown is his Belgian brown ale. His Two Blind Monks is his Belgian double, aged in Jack Daniel's barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans. That's what his Wooden Beanie is. So,
I'll remember.
Fantastic beer.
Yeah,
nice.
So, but yeah, I hear you. I'm ready for some top threes. What do you guys? You guys ready?
I think we're ready. I think we're ready to roll here.
I think we can do that. Tonight's top three list is no, it's not that one. Before I put the wrong one up, let me copy and paste it here because that was last week's, which was cool. Last week's was top three favorite misheard lyrics.
Oh, we had a lot of fun with that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one there. Yeah.
Tonight's, however, is in honor of Rob being on the show, and he's in Cincinnati. Top three favorite beers brewed in Ohio. Top three favorite beers brewed in Ohio. Now we've done several years ago, a couple years ago, we did top three favorite Ohio breweries.
Yep.
But tonight's is top three favorite beers, specific beers brewed in Ohio. So, Rod, take it away.
That was a tough one because we have 400 breweries now in Ohio, which is crazy because I think we have more than like Michigan and we might have even more than Colorado at this point at 400.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
But here, like, Cincinnati, Cleveland, the stuff they're doing up there, Akron, Dayton. I had to kind of think back. I know one of them for me, and it's always been a favorite ever since I had it. And every year, now that I'm back when they release it, which I think may have just been released or about to again, Mad Tree Brewing.
Okay.
They have one. It's called Galaxy High. It's their double IPA. That has always been a solid one they put out each year. And that's what got me in love with the Galaxy hops. It's one of the hops I actually really enjoy. Just has a nice overall balanced tropical citrus from the hops, the smoothness of it. And if you're not careful, it will catch up with you for sure. But, yeah. But Mad Tree's Galaxy High is definitely one of my favorites to actually enjoy. And away from that, because I do drink a lot of, people that watch the show, I drink a lot of the higher ABV type beers more than not. I'm almost like that light was too light, so I had to go get a double IPA again to get up to my regular level of stuff here. So Great Lakes Brewing, Cleveland, Ohio. Their Chill Wave is always a fan favorite.
Chill Wave is good.
Yeah, that's out right now too. That's an excellent one to actually kick back and enjoy. Again, another great double IPA. And then the third one, I was like, there's so many good ones around the state. Was debating which one to go with. And then Fatheads and their Sorcerer came to mind.
Oh, I've not had that.
Which is their Belgian strong dark ale. Phenomenal beer they put together from Fatheads. So Sorcerer is a solid one to pick up, especially if you're a Belgian dark ale fan.
Interesting.
But between that and like there's some stuff like Rheingeist puts out that I really enjoy. They have one called Striker. That's a fan favorite of mine.
Striker's delicious.
Double IPA. And then we have stuff down here like Street Side and You Betcha, Sonder Brewing, and You Betcha. For those that like juicy IPAs, is a nice one to actually pick up. New England IPA, that's gotten a lot of traction lately. Braxton's the Kentucky side, but we consider Cincinnati. They're dark.
Just across the river.
It's Ohio. It's Ohio-ish.
It's a Cincinnati metropolitan area, and they're
you got to remember the Cincinnati airport's actually in Kentucky.
It is in Kentucky, right?
So-
And even that little southeast corner of Indiana is considered part of Cincinnati Metropolitan. So, but Braxton has a phenomenal stout series called Dark Charge. And anytime you can get their variants and check out that stuff, that is one to have on your radar
and
for sure.
I love my stouts.
Yeah. So it's just so much good beer around here now. And there's one brewery called Darkness. It's down in Bellevue, Kentucky as well, right across the river.
My old friend.
Yeah. Have a lot of friendly nights when you go to Darkness Brewing. They do a lot of fun. It's just so many good things. Just, when I went to Baltimore from here, I realized how spoiled it was being in Cincinnati versus Baltimore. And I figured going back to the East, to a major city in the East, I should have a lot of beer choices. I was kind of, more disappointed than anything.
There's like 4 solid breweries there.
Yeah. I think the list when I pulled them up was like maybe 18 total. That I saw
and
there.
4 solid, yeah.
Yeah, 4 solid. and I'm going to the store and I'm pulling out stuff that are like, oh, these are like, this is in Jersey brewery. I'm getting stuff from Jersey than I am in Maryland when I'm going shopping. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, Samurai, you're up.
First of all, I remember the beer I was talking about that they have in the big cans. That's Torpedo.
Oh, Torpedo. Yeah.
Yeah, Torpedo. Yeah.
Oh,
that's Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Sierra Nevada. I said found as the first, and then I said maybe Sierra Nevada. So
I think Torpedo's 7.2 or something. I think
that's big.
Yeah, but they'll put those in the in those stovepipes.
Yeah,
that's a big beer to put in a stovepipe. So
it is a big beer to put in a stovepipe.
I'm just going to grab a few for the barbecue. Okay.
All right.
How did Dave end up in the fire pit again?
Why is he sleeping under the barbecue? So I'm going to start off with a couple of honorable mentions because we mentioned them before. You mentioned in your top 3. But Great Lakes, these are one of the OGs out there. One of the first breweries in Ohio that went nationwide and was very well known. And I've just got to give a shout out to 2 of their beers, which I absolutely love, which is Dortmunder Gold and Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yes,
these are 2 classic beers that have been around a long time. And every now and then, if I'm out in a bar and they've got Edmund Fitzgerald on tap, give me. I want that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Have you had their Elliott Ness too? The Amber Lager.
Elliott Ness is very, very good. Flaming River is very good. Erie Lake Monster is very good.
Yeah, it's another double. Yeah,
there's a lot.
Noparastu Red Ale.
Noparastu. I'll be honest with you. The first time I walked into Great Lakes in Cleveland, of everything that I had on, and I drank a bunch of stuff there, but the very first thing I had to have there was Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
So those are my honorable mentions. So my number three is, and I've only had 2 Rheingeists, and both of them I don't think I got them in bottles. I got them from Devore. Is one of those that I ordered in November, so it took like 3 years to come to me because of the holidays. So the beers that I got, I was a little disappointed in. So I'm not going to judge Rheingeist on what I got from them. I've got to get more of their stuff. So I have no Rheingeist on my list. I do have a Hoof-Hearted.
Yeah.
And the Hoof-Hearted I have this.
Who?
Hoof.
Hoof-Hearted.
Hoof-Hearted. Hoof-Hearted. And it's and I'm not a big hophead, but who'd like to hold my clipboard that is an orange juice bomb. And I just absolutely really enjoyed Who'd Like to Hold My Clipboard. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is from one of my favorite breweries that we cannot get in this state anymore, and that's Jackie O's. Jackie O's does some of the greatest imperial stouts in the country as far as I'm concerned. And my favorite is called Bourbon Barrel Oro Negra.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is amazing. You take one sip of that and you're like, I'm in for the night.
I thought you were going to say Dark Apparition. You said that, like, oh yeah.
But no, Oro Negra is better. I've had both. Oro Negra is better. And it's and the thing is, you're in for the night for 2 reasons. One, the beer's going to sit you on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, you want to make that beer last all night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a sipper and a sniffer.
Mm-hmm.
Sniff.
I can sit there and enjoy a cigar with that one.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great cigar beer.
This is how I measure a good beer like that. This is how I measure a good sniffer beer like that. When I sniff a beer so much that I've finished my cigar and I haven't finished even a quarter of the glass because I've been smelling it while I've been smoking the cigar. That's
one of these beers.
Yeah.
That one right there. My number one, however, this is kind of a bit of a one-off. Hopping Frog.
Yeah, Hopping Frog, good stuff.
Barrel-aged Boris, aged in Van Winkle barrels.
Yeah.
That beer, I was like, okay, you put it in Pappy barrels. Fine, gimmicky, I need to try it. Let's see what you got. And I took one sip and went, holy hell. Damn, you got and that is one of the very few beers, and like you, Rod, I use Untapped just to keep a record of what I've drank and what I haven't because I've had so many. It's one of the few beers I've ever given 5 stars to.
Yeah,
that thing was Oro Negro got 4.75.
Yeah,
and it's one of the greatest beers I've ever drank. But this one that got 5. That's. Oof.
Yeah, it's funny you said that too because, I look at my Untapped and I think I've had like 7,000 something check-ins, but some are just like me drinking stuff out. Sometimes I've had before, but I think I've had like maybe 2,000 unique beers or whatever it may be. And I think I've only given 5s to maybe 7 or 8. That Galaxy High is one of my 5s.
Okay.
That I mentioned. Yeah, but I don't give 5s. I mean, it's almost got to be like that perfect moment. Like, it's like
I need to leave my body.
Yeah.
when I'm drinking that beer for that to be a 5. I got to be sitting there going, "Oh my, I can die now."
Yeah.
That's a 5.
Yeah. Hoppin' Frog is solid. I was thinking about their stuff too.
It's the only reason to ever go to Akron.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not if you're a firefighter. They do make firefighter.
Oh, that's true.
In Akron,
as they say in Ohio, Akron is actually act wrong. So, but I thought about Hoppin' Frog and I thought about Thirsty Dog too. Thirsty Dog does
Thirsty Dog's good. Thirsty Dog does good beer.
Yeah.
They do. And I'll be honest with you, I've had a few beers, and they didn't make my list by any means, but I've had a few good beers. There's some decent liquid, go figure, in Canton. Some of the breweries there, some smaller breweries, small like 5-barrel brew houses or whatever. Yeah, pretty good liquid even there too. So yeah, like you said, Rod, there's like 80 breweries or whatever in the state.
There's so many like Dave Chappelle lives in Ohio. And Yellow Springs. Yellow Springs is a fantastic brewery there.
Do they?
And and it's like they come to all the beer stuff. You can go there. They have a little bit of distribution, but it's like it blows your mind. Like if you're a Saison fan, they do some great Saisons.
Does Chappelle show up there every now and then?
He may. I mean, it's a smaller town, but
did you say Chappelle show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just had one of our local breweries just posted up that Eli Manning popped in.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Well, he doesn't live that far away from the brewery. So.
Yeah, he Double Tap Brewing. Good friends of the show. Good friends of the show.
Okay.
So that was really cool to see a picture of him and Chris.
That's true. The last picture I saw of Chris posted on Facebook was, hold on, because Chris posted the picture of him and Eli the other day, and the last picture I saw posted of Chris, I'm just trying to find it here.
This is you're creating another awkward moment.
I am creating another awkward moment.
It is awkward moment day. Yeah.
There's the last picture I saw posted on Facebook of Chris was that one. So,
so when John's going through his phone like that, he's looking for a selfie.
It's a selfie.
Yeah, it's always a selfie.
Yeah, all right. No, sorry. So mine. Here we go. I got 2 honorable mentions too. My first honorable mention.
You have a tutu?
I have a tutu. I do.
He's wearing it right now.
You can't see it down here. Yeah. Hails from Cleveland, and that would be Butcher and the Brewer.
Okay.
Not too far away, right up the block from Progressive Field, where the Guardians play.
The Guardians, yes.
The Albino Stout, actually.
A white stout?
5.4% white stout. Yeah. Amazing white stout. Just won an Untapped award. In fact, it won gold for
Interesting
white stout. I think it was in Ohio.
It's still a white stout.
It's very good. It's very good. It's very good. Probably the best white stout I've ever had.
I'm just religiously opposed to white stouts.
Oh, I get it. It's a very polarized. It's very polarizing style.
We just had a person do a white stout on one of our live streams. I'm trying to think who it was that did it, and we were waiting to see his response to it because he never had a white stout. And I'm like, it's going to blow your mind. Just kind of what you're going to get out of it. You're going to kind of look at it, and he was just like, he couldn't understand. Like, how is this like? It's like, yeah, that's the thing about the white stout is like you're getting the stout stuff, but it's like. But it's not chocolate. It's not like, but they're still pulling stuff out of it.
It's like drinking. It's like drinking one of those clear root beers, right? You take a sip. It's like root beer, and you look at it. It's water. No, it's root beer. No, it's water. No, it's root beer. No, it's water.
Weird. I just
never worked out for Pepsi as well. But
Pepsi clear. Oh my god.
But that's one. And my other one mention is from Cincinnati. It's from Rheingeist.
Okay.
And it was a collab they did, and this is one of the beers that Dave had. He didn't make his list for whatever reason, but I thought it was pretty good. I'm also a huge Old Ale fan. It was a collab they did with Southern Grist out of Nashville. And it was Cordially Yours. That's 12.9%.
I love the concept. I think I got a bad bottle.
You might have gotten a bad bottle because it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was really good. So that's my number. That's my other mention.
I think I have a Cordially Yours that I picked up here. Actually,
it's very good. It's an old fashioned inspired old ale.
Yep.
And I love old fashions and I love old ale. So
how much was yours? You said 12.4,
12.9.
I think mine is like 15.4.
Maybe different year.
It's an old ale with orange peel, cherries, cinnamon.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah. I haven't drank it yet, but it's in there.
Yeah, the one I had, I got pennies out of it, so I think there were probably,
I did not get pennies out of it. So
there may have been a cap leak.
Mm-hmm.
We've experienced either cap deterioration or something.
Gotcha. So that's my other honorable mention.
That was my caveat. I had a couple of Rheingeist, but I don't think I got good bottles.
Right? No, Rheingeist makes great beer, so you definitely got a bad bottle.
Yeah.
My number 3 is from Akron. It's from Hop and Frog. It's Froggy Claws. 14.1% Swiss Celebration Lager.
Swiss Celebration
Lager. Yeah, that was a crazy good beer, and I think I had that. I think I had.
I could poke a lot of holes in that argument.
I think I have one.
It's a little flimsy.
It's like the Giants' offensive line.
Holy.
Didn't know you were so religious.
Only when I drink.
Only when he drinks. Exactly. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is back in Cleveland, and that's from Noble Beast Brewing.
Okay.
Murder Ballads. It's an 8% Baltic Porter. Amazing.
I love Baltic Porters.
Yeah. So good. And it's Noble Beast is a really cool space. You ever get to Cleveland, go to Noble Beast. It's probably about 4 blocks away, a little bit more east of where Masthead is, but and like a block further north, closer to the lake. But it's a really cool spot. They have a couple fooders in the front. They're doing some sour stuff and some lagers in those, and their beer's really good, really spot on. They're putting some good liquid out at Noble Beast.
You mentioned Masthead. I just had a fantastic that I picked up a 4-pack jalapeno IPA.
Nice.
I love a good jalapeno. I like jalapeno pepper. I like spice, and it can be tricky. I've had some breweries that have too overpowering on it, and I've had some that just delivered. And Masthead delivered on theirs.
The key is to get the flavor into the beer without getting all the capsaicin into it.
Yeah,
100%. And Brian just said Hop and Frog Brewery is the best. He said.
You got to love them.
Speaking of pepper in beer, Brian, why don't you put up a comment about your one pepper beer that you did right before you closed, because it was really hot and really good. So it was good. My number one is I'm going back to Cincy.
Nice.
Back to Rheingeist. It is double oaked Mastodon.
Can't go wrong with the Mastodons.
No, not at all.
Can't go wrong with
I gotta get my hands on one of these.
It's a 14% barrel, 14% Belgian strong dark.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, we got 2 Belgian strong darks in here tonight.
There you
That's
go.
awesome. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but those.
Yeah, your Mastodon double oaked was the one with the brown label with the gold tin on it, I'm sure. Yeah.
Actually,
that's the special ones.
Here's the thing: I had it twice. I got a bottle of it. I had it, and then I had it on tap there. So that was pretty tasty. So I'll give you 3 guesses as to which one was better.
On tap,
of course. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, "Is this a trick question?"
As long as the lines are clean and everything is done right, it should be on tap.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So so that's fantastic.
Okay.
There's so much good liquid in.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much.
It really is
around here. It's we had a bar here. I don't know if they're still open. I haven't been there since I've been back. But it was Queen City Exchange, I think was the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a craft beer type bar. And they'd run like 15, 20 taps or whatever, right? So it was all done. The guys that opened it had a financial background. So it was ran like a stock market.
Okay.
And so they had the prices would go up by the popularity of stuff. So as more beers were being drank of a certain thing, the price would go up. So if everybody was drinking Rheingeist Truth, for instance, it's at $5 a pint, it's $5.50 a pint, it's $6 a pint. It's all moving up. But then ones that not getting drank would have like a market crash. So it would be like something from over here at Rheingeist, they're not drinking it. Bam, now it's $3 a pint. Right. You have to get in there before it starts to rise up again. People want to come in. Let me get 5 of them. Like people are just like
that's a neat model. Yeah.
It was a neat model they did there. And like you said, it was all based off like a stock market type idea. And I don't know if they're still open or not, but I remember us going there for a company function one time, and we were watching it, and it's like, soon as the market crashed, it's like, we need like 20 of these. Like the corporate car would come out, just line them up. We weren't even just lined up on the bar for us to drink.
That's it. Cool. That's great. That's funny. Brian just commented his pepper was Flamethrower. It's a 4.2% Belgian wheat beer with lemongrass. The heat you felt was the heat that you felt going down and disappeared before the next sip. It was. What'd you use? Brian, what was that? Was it Chipotle's that you used?
I can't imagine Chipotle with lemongrass.
I think it was Chipotle's. I don't know. Brian, what pepper was that in there? For some reason I want to say it was Chipotle's.
The one thing that I've learned though with the chili beers is the darker the beer, the more heat that they can take. Like when you look at Stone's Crime and Punishment, these were brown ales.
Right.
These were big brown ales where they put like the most obscene chilies in those. And I loved Crime and Punishment. Those are 2 separate beers. It's not one beer named Crime and Punishment. It was Crime, and there was the beer called Punishment. And
it was Chipotle's, by the way.
It was Chipotle's. Interesting. But
there's a brewery in there's a brewery in Philly, in Brewerytown in Philly, called Crime and Punishment.
Yes, there is. But it's a Dostoevsky themed bar. It's the book, not the
I got you.
But Crime and Punishment, Pete Koch has come out himself and said he can't even drink those beers. They are brutal.
They're brutal.
Oh, really?
They are brutal. You've got to really have a nice level of heat tolerance to be able to drink these beers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was looking at the one. I was trying to see which one I had on here. I wasn't sure. Because I've had the Habanero Sculpin.
Oh, that's such a good beer.
I was going to say Habanero Sculpin is probably one of the hotter beers I've had.
That's one of the hotter ones. That brought a lot of heat for sure when I had that one there. But then I also have one from Sagatock Brewing, and their what was the name of it? Serrano Pepper Ale, and that one was pretty decent.
Interesting.
That was a chili beer as well. But the Habanero Sculpin was the one that was just like
there was one that was
on fire.
Yeah. I remember getting a pour of it and seeing the steam coming off the top.
Yeah, that was such a good beer. What was the? Oh yeah, something face killer.
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface. There was
forever.
Yeah, it is forever. But there was a beer that was brewed with ghost peppers called Ghostface Killer, and that was up there in heat.
Was that Nightmare Brewing?
No. Because
I don't know why I thought of that.
It didn't have 15,000 ingredients in it for no good reason. And we've talked about them. Twisted Pine.
Oh yes. Did
right. Ghostface Killer.
Right, yeah. So, all right. Cool.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, have you guys ever had the Saga Talk Neapolitan?
No, I don't think have I had anything from Saga Talk?
That's an interesting one because that's, occasionally you'll see these brews about these Neapolitan beers.
Yeah.
And sometimes they deliver, sometimes don't. It kind of didn't get this and get that. That one was probably the most interesting beer I've had in years, where it's just you get the chocolate, you get the vanilla, you get the strawberry, you get it at different points throughout the beer. It's just delivered. It was interesting.
I haven't had it.
I actually have had that. I lied. I've had that beer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Untapped, for reminding me.
So I'll have to check and see if I had it. But the one Neapolitan beer I can remember having that was very Neapolitan was Crooked Current, and that was their Neapolitan brown up in
Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Pawtucket, Rhode Island, yeah.
And it was a brown ale with the Neapolitan flavors. It's one of the few Neapolitan beers I've ever had where you could taste all three flavors. It was fantastic, and Nicole is the queen of adjuncts in Rhode Island.
Oh, she is. Yeah.
100%. Everybody in Rhode Island will tell you. You want to work with adjuncts? If you're in Rhode Island, you got to talk to Nicole.
Nice.
Brian just said Ghostface Killer was undrinkable. Shared a 12-ounce bottle with 12 people. That was more than enough, he said.
Oh, I've killed one myself.
1 ounce person is still too much.
I could drink that one. If you couldn't drink Ghostface Killer, then you could not drink Crime and Punishment. Crime and Punishment, those two beers are hotter than Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Rod. Every time you come on, it's a great show. Every time you come on, I want to end. I just want to keep talking.
Yeah.
Jump in the fourth, the fifth beer. Let's go all night.
But I've got a day job. You've got a speech to put together tomorrow at a school.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like power. I'm like, do you really need to do the PowerPoints are so formal when you're giving the people. Like, I could probably just get out there and I'll just tell the story. They're like, oh, whatever you want to do it, or we'll see. So
I'm just going up there free form, give me 2 turntables and a microphone, and we're good to go.
Is at one of the colleges, and it's basically about, do you guys want to do what I do for a living, and kind of like it's like going to career school, like for your kids.
I was going to say, it's like
but
taking your dad
kind
to
of
work.
Recruiting college kids out. Yeah, it's like the seniors looking for new jobs. What does your company kind of do? And then kind of like that. It's like, so I got to kind of give that kind of thing and give the whole kind of a little bit of the company spiel, but it's almost like, okay, this is too boardroomish.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get down to brass tacks. Like,
let's talk about
what really matters. Do you want to make money? Do you want to have fun? Do you want an opportunity? Blah, blah, blah. This is what this can do for you, and kind of get into that type thing.
Cool. Cool.
So it'll be fun. I mean, but it's it's not going to the golf course, but I'm not going to the office either. So
it's very true. Very, very true. 100%.
No, I always appreciate you guys having me on. It's always great to come here and kick it for a bit and talk about the different things.
100%.
This is great because I've been so live streamed out lately. I said, I don't have to do a live stream. I'm going on a live stream this week.
Exactly. Shit. But all right. Well, like I said, it's always amazing when you come on, and we'll definitely put another show in the books. Coming up too. And we'll go from there. It was funny because the last show you were on, the guest the week after you was Al. And this time Al was the guest last week. So apparently the two of you follow each other on the show. But yeah, we'll talk.
Our two broadcast nerds.
Our two broadcast nerds, exactly.
Yeah. But there'll be some good things coming. I got to get you guys over that time too. I got some things in the works right now for some people. That'll be some pretty good, interesting shows upcoming.
Oh yeah, anytime you let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Just let us know. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Stick around. We'll talk to you for a second after we sign off. But on that note, we will wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. For those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.logroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, Like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Pandora, Amazon Music Podcast, iTunes Music, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes, YouTube Music. Pretty much anywhere you can find audio podcasts, you will find the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. And while you're at it, please follow us on all of our socials as well. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Rod, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a blast. Always a great show. Always a great show when you come on. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. We'll talk to you next week. Take care. Cheers.
Good luck with your brackets.
Yes, good luck with your brackets. We'll talk more about that. Well, next week, special show. Dave will not be here.
I will not.
What?
Dave will not be on the show with me. It will be Matt filling in for Dave, and we will have a special guest that has not been on the show yet. Brewery in the show that is common to myself and Matt. Let's put it that way. So you want to tune in next week. So
next week is my daughter's annual trip up north to spend her spring break with her old man.
There you go.
Oh, very nice.
So
family first.
Family first. There you go. So anyway. All right. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we'll talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.